Hello everybody, and welcome back to some WARNO League action, as I'm once more joined by the lovely Chloride.
Hello, everybody. Calling in from rainy Helsinki today.
And we're in here for some love to the lower divisions, as we covered a lot of Division 1 the last few weeks, and Division 2, 3, and 4 need some love as well, so that's what we're gonna do here today. We're gonna have some games from all of those three divisions coming up, and we're gonna start with Three Cats in a Trench Coat versus Sontier here. So let's get into the action here, and let's talk about a really interesting death row matchup. What do you think about the 79 versus 6CS game that we have up here?
I mean, this is two emerging meta divisions clashing with each other on a map that is extremely favored to one of the sides. 79th, despite getting some mild nerfs removing the OSAS recently, really has been on a kind of a growth spiral. It is a armored division that has good infantry fighting vehicles, good tanks, good AA, that quite nice air recently, especially with the mix of the high altitude and close air support helicopters. And with the nerves hitting a bunch of the IFV divisions, the BMP2s are still going to perform their most of their
This
tasks
also is
pretty similar.
pre-patch. This is also a
Oh
game
yeah,
that's still
damn,
from
this is
pre-patch.
pre-patch even. Oh
So
yeah, of course.
79 still has the OSA. 79 still has strong BMP2s. And 6US on the other side doesn't have strong reservists yet, which is an issue for the National Guard and for the 8th, for example. But it still has a good air force already, which we saw leveraged into a win a couple of times lately now, and I feel like that's the way here as well. As 79th, yes, they have one good MiG-29 card, but behind that, their AA and air is pretty mediocre, and it can get overrun by good airplay. But so far, it's mostly forward deploy. It's gonna be interesting to see if we're gonna see a 6 air spam here.
Yeah, I think that's really kind of has to be it because there are very few ways to win with infantry fights on this map. This map, the plateau in the middle, is punishes people for close defending. So when you're getting into the plateau in Anna and Elena in our vision, don't want to reach your enemy's side of the plateau because that is where you put your units at risk. You want to defend on long ranges with ATGMs, recon, and defense in depth and attritioning the enemy when the enemy tries to push back to the plateau. That's basically the best way. And that's way easier said and done on both ends with good tanks and good long range infantry fighting vehicles. The even though the airborne dragons can fight generally on these ranges, they're still just infantry among infantry. The Navy SEALs can attack certain positions here, but the Navy SEALs are going to be inferior to just a couple of tanks in good positions. The map is so straightforward that having numbers advantage is not as relevant as having a few key units such as the T-80 MBTs. And we are not seeing three cats in a trench coat attacking the southern positions, which are the rushable positions, and which also reward a player for having a better infantry tab. I would really kind of like seeing at least a couple of Navy SEALs trying to push that way, knowing that 79th is generally going to start with expensive recon units, Spetsnaz GRU and the Rasvedka BMP2. These the extra defenses on the center point would probably not be there in the early game, and just like one Navy SEAL could probably get a lot done out there. And it's important to do early attacks as an infantry division against an armored division because if you just allow them to hang back and play slowly in their own terms, they will slowly outscale you. The game needs to start immediately for the for three cats in a trench coat, and I'm afraid we may not be seeing this. Remind me, Protos, what was the division of this game?
The division is from Division 4. We have casted a couple of those games last Friday uh, uh, already, but it's a bit more love here for these two. And yeah, Sontier here coming in with the BMP2 in Motorosvetka. These are newer players or players who aren't as active on the ladder and in trying to grind the meta as what we see in Division 1 or 2. So it's gonna be a bit off meta play most likely and not quite optimized, but that's what the league is for, especially those lower divisions, so that people who want to get into the community and who want to get into competitive play have a safe space where they can practice against each other, where they can get some good games in and still have that competitive feeling and get the feeling for how to make all these decisions in tournaments. And yeah, MI2 here getting sniped right at the beginning. Good start for 3Cats. F15 out in the rear already, indicating that more airplay might be planned. We have a MiG-23 ML try to come in here for the tow. Will the MiG-15 be able to intercept? It hasn't turned around yet, only now turning, so the tow Cobra might go down. No, dodges for now. But both planes not able to kill each other. Stinger might change that. Yes! Okay, that's a good start here in the air for 3Cats. F15 getting back, gets an air kill. One strong thing about 6US is that it gets iHawks. So F15s plus iHawks can be setting up great killing fields in the air. But that obviously will take a while here to set that up probably. And you have to be careful not losing too many units on the ground until then.
Yeah, really great control from 3Cats, getting that tow cobra landed just in time, and then also having the AA positions all around the place to compensate the stingers here, to compensate for the fact that they had bought an expensive F15. F15 did not get the kill there, but it is enough of a threat to keep Sontir from investing into aircraft here. Now, Sontir's BMP attack is going through the north, but looking at the reinforcements, I think there's a lot of infantry has been bought here for Sontir, and infantry fights are not the ones necessarily that you want to have. But of course, on these lower levels and in general, having a few extra units can never hurt, as long as you actually do have the core of your armored force that you can. You don't want to neglect the core, because otherwise you won't be able to scale. And we're seeing the T-80 leader with a bunch of its BMP brethren here using the BMP 1Gs, well, the 1PGs, which are the ones with the grenade launchers, and costing only 40 points. The grenade launcher is a quite nice tool, and especially when going against an infantry heavy division here.
Yes, Tow 2 gets a BMP2 killed there. The Humvee Tow is a great vehicle to stop those BMP2 pushes and the TADBVs from long ranges. The M48 on the other side, that one will struggle to deal with those toys on the other side efficiently over longer ranges. So if it can jump on close range, thanks to the high penetration of the gun, it can actually deal decent damage even against a T-80, but it will get smacked pretty hard from them, especially in long-range engagements here. So the ACAF still struggling, ATGM flying out in its direction. Will hit it, will get it routed, no smoke on the M48 ACAFs, so that one will get pushed out. Humvee Tow went down as well, and that's the issue here. That's where the 79th comes in with the better armored trait, now slowly pushing forward. Where's the Air Force?
Yeah, the buying here, there's a bunch of light rifles, LCRs, there's a 4 units of Alaskan cavalry scouts going all around the southern area here, completely defensively deploying. I guess this is, maybe the defensive deployment here is about trying to buy time to get that air power up, but I think especially like these ACAV units here, they're not in the best position, and Sontir is going to be facing just like waves of light rifles and tanks, forces that are weaker than what he is currently fielding, or they are currently fielding. The solution here would be to try to manufacture a stealthy concave of ATGMs to prevent the support vehicles from moving out, and thus buying more time. Just buying frontline infantry here will allow for fair engagements with enemy infantry, which will allow Sontir to move that fire support and go for the kill. There's also a complete recon advantage here for Sontir, so all of these reinforcements are going to be maybe intercepted even before they get into fighting range.
Yeah, the Alaskan Cav Scouts pushing through. One Alaskan Scout actually got decently deep in the south, engaging the CV there now. Conkers and a BMP2 coming up already though, so 3Cats will have to fight quite hard for the southern territory and is losing a lot of space right now in the north with the infantry of our player in red pushing forward. BMP2 recon there, engaging the light rifles. Those can't push over the open field at all, and that's a problem. That's what you were talking about. Infantry in the northern spaces here, not really efficient to any maneuver warfare. Gets the BMP2.
The RCLs get a kill on long ranges, but now the tanks and the reinforcing flame tank are moving into support, and Though Cobra is in a bad position, probably going to be taken out by an Eagle in just a moment if the Eagle is no, the Eagle is actually moving out of sight, but there's also a Coop.
Yeah, then the Coop will likely get into range here soon. TADBK and TO55 moving around. Igla still doesn't have line of sight. Some Motor Strikers go down, some Motor Redka down as well. Conkers get sniped, so at least a couple of good trades here. But you need long-term more than just a couple of good trades to have a chance here. As the 6US gets into the southern zone, gets a +2 for now. But the Cav Scouts didn't really do much. We have more M48 ACAVs coming around there, but without smoke and so on, those units are not great on the offense either. And you need to be a bit on the offense here as 3 Cats, and the lack of airplay is surprising, as that really is one of the strong points of 6US, and was only the one fighter at the beginning, and since then, no strike aircraft coming in yet.
Yeah, if you want to play 6th US as an infantry spam division, you can. It's just going to be suboptimal because there are other infantry spam divisions that also can give you a proper kind of supporting tank tab filled with T-55s and stuff. There are infantry spam divisions that allow you to get infantry fighting vehicles. The infantry spam with the massed amount of recon naturally kind of work together with air forces, and now we're actually seeing an A10 AT variant coming about. The 6th also runs the Recon A10, the OA10, and so potential here for a bunch of air kills is pretty big with the cavalry scouts all around the place. There's also a juicy Mi-24P Hind helicopter that can be taken out with only a Strela further up north. But meanwhile, Sauntir is doing it exactly as you're supposed to, is exploiting the advantage, and is still pushing further, with the Coop up north getting a really, really important hit here, taking the A10 out of the commission for now.
Yes, we see Humvee Toes killing off a TO55, F15 trying to kill off the Mi-24, failing so far, disengaging and getting killed by the MiG-29. Oh no, classic F15 A2 moment there, turning right into the missile fire of the MiG-29 with the R-27Ts hitting hard, getting the kill there. And that's losses that you just can't afford to take as the US division here, as those airplanes are really expensive.
Yeah, as an Eagle user myself, they do tend to disappoint. They require more micro than cheaper or more cost-effective fighter planes, and this is a debuff for them, I believe.
Yeah, Humvee CP going down. TO55 in the center at least gets killed off, but the southern zone will get recaptured, and we only have 300 points so far on the scoreboards here for 3 Cats, so they are struggling to get a dent in here. And the VATs sitting out in the open, BMP2 getting some good kills there, while the Strelas and Cubes do hold the north. BTR 60 PB going down, Saperi RPO pushing forward, trying to get some more kills, whilst the BMP2 keeps on firing towards the south, and there's little now to stop Red from just pushing through the south, whilst they still have an advantage around the northern zone as well.
Yeah, the BMP1 and BMP2 combo here is just such a without the enemy having a robust network of ATGMs, or which in this case would be TOW2s, which are maybe a little bit overpriced for that task. But in general, there's just not enough combined arms here for 3 Cats. At this point, 10 minutes in, there should be some level of air presence that could punish Saunter for doing these pushes. Every time you're pushing, you need to think about: does my enemy have a bomber that can get at me immediately after I leave my cover? And we're seeing Saunter just like go further up north, and 3 Cat seems to have invested most of their points into this very old-fashioned but determined attack, going up here with fire teams and single supporting vehicle trying to attack AT-80 on long range.
Yeah.
There's even a Humvee TOW out there, but it is firing out of cover and gets taken out immediately.
Yes, it got a kill against the BMP2, but after it moved out of cover, TADBK could easily engage it, got the kill there. And at the same time, the south needs to be reinforced. We haven't seen any of the special forces. No, none of the Marines have come around. Oh no, no, the Navy SEALs have come around here. And
Yeah, that's
48's
probably
pushing
good, I
forward.
think. Navy SEALs don't really have. This is a dragon area. Fireteam Dragons and Airborne Dragons, I think, are good choices here for what
Yes,
they.
but they could have helped out securing the deep zone in the south. Like
Yeah.
sitting in the factory complex there could have been helpful. Instead, Fireteam Dragons now getting pushed back, and the south fight is now Fireteam Dragons versus Motostrelkis. Peacekeeper there trying to help out, but on the other side, BMP 1PG does deal more damage as 3 Cats is getting pushed back. M48 number 2 coming in. Humvees coming in with LRS and all, but that's not really an improvement to the combined arms. And this is the issue, as the other side will still continue improving the combined arms, and if you can't do that, then you will lose the later stages of the game. And we're only 12 minutes in, and 3 Cats is already struggling to get any points on the board.
Yeah, there are some things that like lower level players and beginner players in Warno do that I think kind of immediately reveal them to be well, beginners. All know the T80 PVK there's a really nice side shot that came by a Humvee tow, which will slow a little bit, but there are already reinforcing tanks here in the front line for Sontir. But yeah, one of those things is buying multiple units at the same time. Like buying these, thinking, oh, what am I going to buy? I'm going to buy 3 infantry units right there. And when you're doing that, it seems because you want to spend your points quick, you don't want the float, you want stuff coming out there on the front. So you kind of skip the thinking process and just get 3 of the same good unit. But all units have certain limitations, and mixes of units basically always are a better choice. Having 3 infantry units is counterable by a helicopter, for instance. Having 2
And
infantry units with a Stinger is not. And
we have a GG called here now, as Sontir is getting the W here, as yeah, 6 US just not working like that on this map. 3 Cats picking the wrong tool for the job and getting punished for it. As 6 US not finding the solution here to just base Warno gameplay. BMP2, T80s, BMP1 PGs, like really nothing out of the ordinary at all there from Sontir. Sontir just playing normal, standard Warno, and playing it how it's supposed to be played, and getting rewarded for it with a W.
Yeah, exactly. It is when you're playing something like 6 US, you are playing a specialized division, not just the DLC divisions, but especially a bunch of the DLC divisions, I believe, do things arguably more powerfully in some situations, but actually succeeding with them requires the kind of game knowledge that is first gained by playing the simple stuff, the 8th US, the 79th, the 39th, the 2nd UK, all of this. And but yeah, hoping to see a different choice of division or tactic from 3 Cats. We know 3 Cats is capable of them, and I think the infantry attacks on death row just fundamentally the wrong choice here, I believe.
Yeah, if you want to go 6, go ham on the air on that map. And otherwise, stay away from it and get something a bit more mechanized. So, yeah, that's it. Let's jump right into the next game, guys. Quick break, then we're going to be back with game number 2. So here we return. Game number 2. Frontier versus 3 Cats in the Trenchcoat. And we have 24th US versus 11th ACAF. Really interesting matchup. As both divisions are... I think
Yeah,
I'm
you're not
online.
online.
I, I think
Yeah,
I'm
you're not
online.
online.
I don't see any stream issues on my end.
Okay, no, wait, no, now the YouTube started again.
I think that is on your end this time around.
No, it's not. No, okay, now your Twitch restarted. Now I can
Oh
see it
yeah,
again.
kind of no idea what happened there. Wait, okay, might have been a restream issue. Okay, guys, Sontier versus Sontier versus Three Cats game 2. We're going in. Yes.
Yes. Okay, now I can see 27 people watching, so the Twitch should be working, I think.
Yeah, Three Cats coming along here with the 24th versus 11th ACAF. As we have good amounts of forward deployable units here. LRS, you get the better tanks and Bradleys that you can deploy forward as well. On the other side, you have some Bradleys as well there, but 24th biggest weakness really is the deployment of units that it can get out there. The US Scouts not coming with AT weapons, and the Bradleys being okay but pretty expensive. No tanks, no stronger infantry there, no forward deployer AA, and so you have to rely on your mechanized fist coming from behind, whilst 11th comes a lot quicker, but has weaker stuff to send in afterwards. The infantry not quite as good. The IFV only a martyr, no Bradleys. You get the better tank though, but you get a decent number of them, but not endless numbers of M1A1s.
Yeah, 24th does have the NG Apache, which this is a pre-patch, I believe. So post-patch, the NG Apache is significantly better than it used to be, and it can have the it does have recon helicopters, I believe, if you want to as well. But nonetheless, I'm very surprised one of the better recon units, the M150, is not out there. That thing has a tow missile and a 50 cal machine gun, and it's only 40 points. You can use it to screen and take ground pretty efficiently. I recently played the 24th on my stream at Chloride47, by the way, on Twitch. The NG Apache is going there pretty blind, but maybe just thinking that the Eagle can protect it from diving F-16 AA-2s, which are the best helo killer helicopters planes in the game right now. Apache getting a nice kill, getting a free Iltis there, wasting its rockets on long-range bombardment on transports, but taking out a Bradley with his Hellfire, immediately trading up. Now here comes the F-16 AA-2 with the AIM-9M missiles, the top NATO heat seekers, hit and destroy the Apache with the Eagle.
And
Taking
picking
out
out
the
the
Eagle.
Eagle, yeah, that's the reason why you don't fight with Eagles like that. The head-ons against a plane like the F-16C. Classic Eagle situation there. The AA-2's really not made for fights like that. And
yeah,
we
the
have
Phantom here.
a lot of Bradleys coming up in the north. We have snipers fighting BGS strife in the north, with the BGS not quite being in range, so getting bullied a bit there. Scouts won't be able to stop the Bradleys, as they don't have AT, so the north should be 3 Cats playing field now. Question is, can they hold on to the south at the same time? Their Bradleys get into positions, but there are M1A1s, there are a good amount of infantry units here that can start spotting their stuff, so they might be in trouble there when the M1A1s start to shoot down the Bradleys.
Yeah, the Bradley attack up north is only valuable, I think, if the Bradleys can just keep on going and pushing. And we're seeing so far 3 Cats is giving some move orders and wants to bring up a long front line with the very long-range TOW-2 missiles, of course, being the main weapon here. Being able to target multiple TOWs at the reinforcement routes on this map when it's so open is a huge bonus on the long term, and forces Sontir to deal with a lot of extra bullshit. But meanwhile, if we can look at Sontier's play in the last game, where they were going slowly and mechanically with the armored force. We're seeing a similar attack happening right now down in the south. The Bradleys are good long-range defense vehicles, but they are not currently in position, and the force in front of it is powerful enough to just suppress it with dragons, and the M1 Abramses can just smoke if the Bradley manages to get a good sightline at any point. Tow Cobra arriving here, but the Tow Cobra has very limited HE weaponry here, and it's also under risk of getting dived by another fighter. The reinforcements coming for 3 cants includes a IP Abrams command tank, which really is not going to be arriving on time to actually matter here. And with a bailout on the Recon Bradley, F-16 diving the Tow Cobra, and the Bradley in decent defensive positions on the backside of the forest, but that is only going to buy it a little bit time and an extra mech rifle skill.
Yeah, Bradley is starting to go down. Phantom tries to hunt down the F-16. Gets a hit. F-16 actually turning a bit weirdly there. Ihawks should get involved soon, but gets the kill on the F-16 here before the Ihawks can get out. The Ihawk not getting a shot on target there. M1A1 getting into Alpha will stop the tick here and slow this whole game down with 3 cats having the north and trying desperately to get reinforcements into the rear zone to protect that from being captured. Tow 2 there, really helpful. Can hit hard. M1IP against M1A1 is a pretty tough matchup. The M1A1 CP with the better gun, with the 120mm against the 105mm, with the 3 extra pen, really makes a world of difference in damage output. And that's a big problem for the IP.
Yeah, the 24th is actually pretty decent in these sort of kind of static moments. If they save 55 points for the next minute, they can buy a 315 cost Strike Eagle. The Strike Eagle is the best LGB bomber in the game, I believe. And it is very fast, it's very survivable, and it can take out 2 heavy targets in one flight, basically. And we already seen the Bradley IFV actually destroying some recon reinforcements, so the C-Knight has been sent in to deal with it with its supporting recon dropper. Lack of a single stinger here.
Oh no, the M1IP though goes out there into the fight. Ooh, it went down to 1 hit point. M1A1 not able to finish it off though. Good smoke there finally, but that positioning was risky by 3 cats. Barely making it out alive. Good smoke. Otherwise, that would have been a disaster right there. It's still bad. It still means that the M1A1 now can push forward a lot easier. But at least Bradley's already on the way. Phantom cruising above all of this. As the Tow 2 now. Ooh, if that can find the side shot there, that's the end of the M1A1 at CP. It gets the kill in return. It's getting big in here, guys. Important kills.
Here. Excellent positioning for the Tow. But yes, as I said in the last game about the homogeneity of 3 Cats' forces here, the heavy investment into Bradleys with no anti-helicopter AA has basically lost the advantage that was gained with the Bradley attack up north, with a bunch of the Bradleys actually retreating back behind the Delta position, and with a single Kiowa helicopter getting sent to do the AA here, getting dived by an F-16 right now. And this Saunter just seems to have a wider palette of units here because they don't buy them immediately. They don't buy them in masses, I mean. The 3 Cats right now is going to be able to get into a defensive position down south, especially taking out that overextending command tank was a huge deal. But as long as 3 Cats is going to have to attack against M1A1s with an M1IP deck, they're going to have to spend just way too many points on tanks to actually maybe achieve that air supremacy. The air supremacy is easiest countered by pre-buying Ihawks, and Ihawks have already been pre-bought.
Yeah, F-16 CAA here chilling out there as well. Cav and M1A1 killing off more Bradleys. That's why you never want to have Bradleys around like that. Like, they are just so vulnerable for their price point. You want to have them behind some M1 IPs, some M1 National Guard variants. so that those soak the shots and the Bradleys can then engage whatever was revealed by it. But having Bradleys fight on their own is relatively cost inefficient usually because they get popped so quickly by anything on the other side.
Yeah, that's why I like the 24th, because the IP Abrams have enough armor to serve as a front line, and they can just hang around there and do like machine gun damage while the Bradleys in the back line actually do the damage. And with the NG Bradleys, you get significantly cheaper, but they also run like 6 ITOs, and ITOs are more than enough in against vast majority of targets in this game.
Yeah, M1IP coming in, another scouts bunch coming in here, but game so far quite the stalemate. Both sides currently playing for defensive positions, setting up more forces. No push really well set up yet. It seems like Sontier will try to get into the north, as we have mech rifles and this mortar coming in there that likely is going to pop some smoke, and there is pretty little there for 3cats so far. So 3cats needs to invest into a bit of formation here in the next minute or so to get into Delta with a force, otherwise that can be quite easily overrun.
Yeah, the this concentrating of like even more chaparrals and recon for this large tank fight area here. We have seen this happen in a lot of games on this map, and for pretty justifiable reasons. People have this great end siege at the India and Alpha positions, where all of their resources are spent in basically uh, building up the most expensive forces and fighting these long range conflicts. But where units could achieve a lot more if they just went to different parts of the map. But right now we're seeing 3cats trying to get out of there in a really bad attack, sacrificing a bunch of fire teams, sending the 2 tanks and 1 Bradley to challenge this force that is in cover and has good enough luck to avoid the first O2 hit. But though now the only M1A1 here has been stunned, does get hit by the heavy missile, with the Milan 2 being the only weapon here to actually fight this
Smoke
off.
pops, and the last shot doesn't land there. Cav has to disengage as well. Milan 2 still involved there on the other side as well, as Recon isn't the greatest, but Milan 2 does finally fall. Good fight there from 3cats. 3cats putting in a bit of pressure, and at the same time, not super much movement yet from Sonti in the north, but we have an M1A1, we have mech rifles coming up. So, as the no reinforcements have come to the north, they also come to the south. It seems like 3cats will have to break through in the south relatively soon, otherwise they likely gonna lose everything in the north and then have to fight up against the +4, which is really, really uncomfortable.
Yeah, Thornter is doing a smoke-covered push up north, and that's actually a little bit, maybe a little bit too careful here. Just sending the quick fix or just walking the scouts forward could have revealed to Saunter that there was nothing there. Saunter is presuming that there are going to be Bradleys and defensive position where there is not, and now is spending a lot of micro and time in getting this attack going. Now, meanwhile, 3cats' mech force is getting into the position, and there are no long-range weapons to fight this off. There are only dismounted troopers and the M1A1 that is currently repairing. Sea Knight is out of ammo, but can be there in a moment. And as far as reinforcements go, there are Milan 2s and a command tank coming in, but that command tank could maybe be taken out by a Strike Eagle as soon as the if there was artillery to take out the Ihawks, then this could be Strike Eagle country. And we actually see the M150 recon vehicle coming for 3cats, the one that I recently found out to be extremely powerful.
Yeah, and 3cats gets back onto the tick. This is pretty big. The push in the south as the M1A1 got pushed back. Really, really helpful. But Sontier tries to get into the north. And if 3cats could re-establish their position into the forest, that would be big, but the Cyanide helicopter pushes them out for now. Though that one is now toast, as 2 chaparrals get the hit there. So M1A1 and the Cav might need to push back in there now with some real forces.
the LRS is nearly in a spotting place for the A10 to attack this force. Now the LRS was just slightly out of position there to allow the A10 to do a bombing, do an attack run. Though with the two chaparrals, maybe it could have gone down.
Yes, at the same time, more National Guards and fire teams in the north. That is good. That is really helpful. But the amount of forces here is sizable, so you might need slightly more to capture this zone.
Yeah, the limited infantry of 11th Horse is moving up, supported with a full-on M1A1 and a quick fix chopper. Phantom getting driven out by an F-16 here, giving Saunter a little bit more time with the air supremacy. Haven't seen any bombers outside of the A-10. Oh, now here we can see the Strike Eagle. The Strike Eagle is coming in and targeting zero-vet infantry, but I guess they have nothing to stop that either.
Yeah, gets the hit.
Revealing the Strike Eagle like that is insane.
Eyehawks are both in the south, so using it in the north is the right decision, but yeah, no more valuable targets right now. Oh, it's going for an M1A1 CP in the south. It gets the bombs out, and it gets the kill. This is big. That's a good first run. Gets out, gets onto the reload time without any extra time for repairs. A10 coming in, trying to deal with the chaparrals, gets the first one hit, but will eat another missile here. That, luckily for it, does miss, and no more missiles coming out. So, great hit here from our player in blue, getting a really good bombing run hit there with the Strike Eagle, and now the south is open again. M1A1's down, and we have IPs, we have M150s coming around to deal with this.
Right now, with Saunter taking so long to do that attack up north, I think and having those bad trades in the southern attack here, I think this could be Three Cats' position to start pushing. Three Cats managed to get enough firepower to suppress the singular expensive tanks that there were, and they were not controlled perfectly, letting the TOW2s do the majority of damage. Even if you don't do penetration, tank guns firing against other tanks do quite a bit of suppression, especially in mass. And with certain amount of suppression, you can get a stun, and that stun takes long enough time for the missiles to drive in and hit and get the actual damage. Strike Eagle going out there, taking another M1A1 Abrams. That is 270 points of income. That is more than a minute's wait, and those can't necessarily be printed as well as some tanks like T-72s or Chieftains because of this extra, no, actually 275 points in this version. More than a minute's income.
Yeah. Oh. Okay, everything is working fine again. Phantoms moving around. Eagles coming around. Hueys coming in there. Had a short technical issue with my keyboard, but everything is working fine again. As the Phantoms moving around. The Huey ACAF troopers here are a nice attempt on trying to salvage the situation in the north, whilst Hawks trying to hold at least the Santia's units out a bit. But they're back into it. And
16.
Alpha.
It's an F-16.
Oh no.
The Hueys are very vulnerable and very slow helicopters. I personally use the aircraft troopers in my deck for fast reinforcements. I don't ever bring these helicopters close to the front line because they are just so vulnerable. And the 180 is like, is it the slowest or the second slowest helicopter?
It is the slowest transport helicopter for sure, and that is a problem when you want to get into the north quickly to reinforce your situation there, and dodging planes with it is not easy either. The F-16 hasn't spotted them yet, isn't on a hunt order yet. The Phantom might want to go further north here to protect them, as it is pretty far in the rear as well. Meanwhile, good couple of pings here from Three Cats. Will we see some artillery? Not yet. Both sides playing it without any forward artillery outside of one mortar unit. The Stingers won't be in time, neither will it be the F-16. Hueys made it, and the aircraft troopers did land. Can rescue the National Guard leader there now, as M1A1 is on the way already though, so it might need a bit more than that. Phantom coming around, gets the first hit onto the F-16 and gets the kill there. The Sparrows coming out supreme there, but gets killed by the Ihawk. So air trade there, fair air trade for both sides there. Whilst Sontier back into Alpha Zone, pushing through the north. If Sontier can get the Charlie Zone and the Alpha Zone, they will reverse the tick here and be the one starting to get the points in. But for now, no CV there just yet. One is coming up slowly, and aircraft troopers could still be reinforced with Strike Eagle shots or something like that. M1IP finally coming up. It's, yeah, maybe a bit late here for 3 Cats, but they will attempt to defend there.
Interestingly, I look at the Black Hawk, and the Black Hawk machine guns only have 420 rounds, but the Huey machine guns have 2,800 rounds. This is some kind of an oversight here, I believe. Oh, but the Strike Eagle going against and actually getting a hit against the F-16 in a very risky hit. Oh no, the F-16 strikes back. The Strike Eagle cannot afford to be any longer in the repair bay than it has to be. It needs to be out there taking out the Ihawks and the Abrams. Meanwhile, there is an investment in artillery, and M109 is out here, but it is in the wrong part of the map. And currently, Bradleys are driving in straight.
Bradley's getting shot out with the push. Once more, the Bradley's in the front. Yeah, my tank tutorial video will come up later today, guys, and it will teach you not to do exactly that. You have M1IPs, use those to soak Milan 2 shots. Don't use your Bradleys, but at least the counter-strike of the M1IPs did go pretty well now. Milan's taken out as well. The CV taken out too, so 3 Cats should be able now to get back in there, as Sontier once more not having enough forces in the south to really hold there, but at the same time Sontier cleared out the northern Charlie Zone completely, so both sides soon will stop the tick likely, as they will have 3 zones each.
Yeah, I think Sontier's very methodical and slow play style kind of bit him in the back, managing to confidently secure everything up north, but taking so much time and so many units that it slowly allowed for 3 Cats to keep on reinforcing. Had they just went in there and tried to micro their way with a few recon helicopters and few infantry units with APCs, the firepower would have been enough to actually secure this. And but now what North has become is just another attention sink, and giving time and positional attention advantage for 3 Cats to once again do like a pretty big mechanized attack down here with no tanks actually being set and even no extra ATGMs out here. The A10s could try to dive in, but with chaparrals out there, that's risky business. And currently 3 Cats is not overextending anywhere. Sontier kind of getting bit by their own positive influences are coming back to haunt them here.
Yes, and at the same time we have the more at 50s here hitting Ihawks in the south. The mortar is still trying to hold there. A10s coming in, getting a kill against one Bradley, getting a kill against the M1IPs. 2 M1IPs actually going down there to the A10. Terrible losses there. F-16 at least gets the kill again in return. Ihawk is out of ammo, so the F-15 won't be pushed out immediately. F-16 LGB on the other side moving back, but the A-10 getting its value there. Great strike, and that was a really good hit there. Aircraft troopers and fireteam dragons might move forward as well. Scouts in the north holding out against the M1IPs. Those will have an eye on everything there, but for now will stay static, as this is a good launching point now for Sontier. Sontier needs to get into Delta in my eyes. They don't have the forces right now to go back into Alpha, but they should be able to get the tick up with catching the northern zone now that they worked so hard for.
Yeah, this 2 M1IP is in a pretty bad position for 3 Cats in a trench coat here, getting spotted by the scouts and getting the LGP dropping on both of them. Does not get the kill, but those vehicles
coming
right
around
now,
the second time as well though, and there goes the second bomb. M1IP goes down. F-16 doing the job there. M150 goes down as well. 1 IP does survive, but...
And then down south, the ACAV. The ACAV gets a front shot on the only ACAV here, getting a front shot by a TOL 2 here. Second shot coming in from the Bradley. No smoke yet. Oh no, it's a stun.
It's down to 1 hit point. Bradley reloading its launcher right now. TOW2 team not quite inside. Okay, the M1A1 ACAV does get out here in this American Civil War, as the A10A in the north, Rip Rockets on the hunt for another M1IP or some infantry units on the low ground. Sontier really should start the push here. It's only 16 minutes remaining. Like, Sontier did so well in the northern push, but they need to reward themselves in time here. 700 points is a decent tick. It can be absolutely overtaken by capturing the northern zone for now, but you have to do it eventually. Strike Eagle is out, could strike the M1A1 CP once more. That would be a massive loss, but there is another CV up north as well. A10 rocket comes in. M1IP gets attacked here. M1A1 gets the kill against its weaker brethren, the one with the smaller gun. A10 AT gets the kill on the Bradley in the south. Sontier is pushing everywhere. Strike Eagle comes in though. Ihawks not hitting, gets the M1A1 CP. The A10 actually the one that hits the Strike Eagle on the way out, but it does survive to come another time later in the state games. M1IP's here in the south coming around. A10A, oh no, the AT does it again. Ooh. Gets 1 kill, 1 frontal hit that barely gets survived by the M1IP, but another good kill here by an A10 AT. And this situation here is looking really rough now for 3 cats.
Yeah, very importantly, Sontier actually targeted the chaparrals for the A10, first using the risky attack with the ACAV, taking out one of them, I believe, and with the second one going straight forward with the A10, giving it complete free reign here, as the air attention and for 3 cats was in a completely different location. And even up north, where 3 cats can kind of try to harass the enemy force, they are still losing units, and only because Sontier is playing so carefully has Delta not fallen yet. 2 more infantry squads coming in with helicopters and some engineers. That is overkill at that point. I think those points would be best spent in getting more ATGMs down south and middle. But even then, the south and middle do hold, if just because of that A10.
Yes, we have a massive amount of Bradleys rolling in now. It's all National Guard Bradleys, and as this was played on the previous patch, they are all still a bit weaker than they are on the current build. Meanwhile, on the other side, aircraft troopers coming in force, CV coming in as well, but I believe you need to get in here before all those Bradleys arrive, because there is not all that much that can deal with the Bradleys right now. It's a lot of infantry, it's a lot of units that can deal with infantry, not that many anti-mechanized forces around anymore. The F-15 gets an F-16 killed here as well, so 3 cats is setting up the force to actually hold the point lead if Sontier isn't reacting quickly, and Sontier does seem to play pretty slowly here right now. Aircraft troopers moving around, Blackhawks not sold, F-16 trying to come around for some strafing, actually getting the National Guard Stingers killed there, that was out of ammo. And yeah, no movement though. Aircraft troopers slowly moving in now, but no real push for the zone that is completely empty. Big prediction here by Sontier, not quite calculating how many kills they actually got and how far ahead they actually are on the trade. And they could just rush in there.
Black Hawks. Just fly one of those Black Hawks out there and find out what you can see. There might be nothing there, you know. And right now the Bradleys are moving in through a location that is through a road that is not covered by the M1A1, so they are going to be going to get into the area here, whether autocannons will be probably targeting the aircraft troopers now attacking. I think the Sontier's mistake here is by playing this very aggressive, very front-heavy division and still trying to play it as a methodical armored division. And the late-game attacks with infantry are coming here.
M1A1 goes down to a side shot of an M150 with the old style TOW. The really old missile here, but it isn't a side shot, still can't do the damage here, finishing off an M1 that was already damaged by a other Bradley, hitting it frontally. The F-16 here comes in with a good run with the LGB. OH-58's not able to retaliate yet, and it has a second run. 8 hens coming in as well, so that could salvage the situation here. Sontier still needs to get the CV in there now.
They're all in the open.
A10 rockets. Get another Bradley. trying to come around for the OH. F-15 coming around now. LGB F-16 on the other side comes around for the next run. F-15 pushes back the A-10. LGB goes out, but does miss slightly, not quite killing the Bradley. The F-15 gets pushed away. We won't see much of that in this game anymore. And the red units get into the town at least. And a lot of Bradleys have gone down, so the situation here is still decent. The CV finally starts moving. 11 minutes, 40 seconds remaining. I believe that should be at least enough to get it to a draw here at this stage, as it's gonna be 80 points per minute. But you need to hold on to this as well. And there are a lot of investments here now from 3Cats. And the M1A1 falling, really big loss. An M1A1 CP comes up, a couple more helicopters, but the amount of stingers here is solid by now as well, so you have to be careful with those relatively flimsy Cobras.
The National Guard's Abrams, the base models costing 190, coming in here for 3Cats, most likely having ran out of the IP variants. And at this point, this is going to be a grind battle of infantry attacking fortified infantry. Everybody is on zero vet, basically. There are going to be air attacks and supporting helicopters and tanks, but the aircraft will be targeting each other's valuable assets. So most of the fighting and most of the points here have been invested into infantry. Now, infantry reinforcements are coming in for the south, for Sontir. Meanwhile, there is no attack being planned, seemingly, for 3Cats out there. All of the mech forces moving northeast to support with the main town attack. I think this year, the 24th is the opposite, as you said. It is the back-heavy division. It is the division that requires the build-up, requires the masses and the numbers and the positions hardly, slowly fought, whereas the M1A1s and the LGB bombers and all of this gives 11th Horse this ability to just like do shock attacks. And we have both players here kind of playing the way of the 24th. So even when the trades and the fights have been going in Sontir's favor in large parts of the game, still Sontir allowed for these build-ups, allowed for this 5 stack of NG Bradleys and all of these to get out of there. And the Strike Eagle, the 2 Strike Eagles themselves are extremely expensive. There were moments when there were no reinforcements coming in to any of 3Cats' forces because those points were saved for the Strike Eagles. And losing so many M1A1s is the reason why Sontir has not just managed to tank away, just hasn't managed to numbers game this out. The singular A1s going against numbers has now repeatedly been a problem, considering that the numbers can eventually get like side shots when their attention is not in that specific unit.
And Sontir now trying to attack here with one M1A1 and an M1 ACAF and CP, so 2 Abrams here pushing with a bit of aircraft trooper support. The Blackhawks should just move forward there as well. AT already went down, as the northern attack of 3Cats is still a bit stuck as well. No CV on the way yet for 3Cats towards the north, so if they just let it tick with a +2 here, I believe Sontir still will get this game. They will have to do something about that. F-16 got shut down here in the rear, trying to hunt down the Strike Eagle. Second F-16 LGB actually diving way too deep here as well. Going into a direct fight with a Strike Eagle. The Strike Eagle on its own already would have the advantage, but going over all the AA, that's pretty ballsy there. And the Strike Eagle turns it around now. Has 4 air-to-air missile versus the 2 of the F-16 LGB, but both sides missing everything there. American ECM carrying them through. As we have another A-10 AT coming in. Oh, gets one. Gets pushed out. Gets a second one on the way out, though. These A-10s have done so much work here for Sontir.
Yeah, the NG Stinger is not good enough in dealing damage here and not reliable enough. And meanwhile, the Chaparrals Chaparrals are good, but they're 135 points, and I don't think they have smoke. So they are also pretty juicy targets for aircraft.
Yeah, and we saw the third National Guard Abrams also going down. Push in the south here of an M1A1 CP. Trying to push through. TOW 2 pushed back. M1IP and Bradley trying to come back to the south. LGB bomber flies over the Chaparrals, gets killed off before doing all that much damage on the ground. Did miss with its bomb there. LRS moving around. We have an M1 IP with CP power, another the leader trying to get to the front line in the north. Actually, now being diverted to the south, as that is now also being captured, and a +3 is more than enough here for Sontier. It's gonna stay at a +3 as the CV gets sideshotted there by the M1 IPs. So good maneuvering there from 3Cats, at least getting to stop the full capture. But the +3 is 120 points per minute. With 6 minutes remaining, that's absolutely more than enough here for getting Sontier ahead of 3Cats. So 3Cats needs to reduce it to at least a +1 or turn it around again to take and stop it in the next couple of minutes to get back into this game. Has a lot of units rolling in for the south. A lot of Bradleys here coming in. There is not all that much in the south right now for Sontier. So Sontier will have to figure that out. Otherwise, a breakthrough through Bravo and maybe even Papa could happen if Sontier is not ready at all for this.
Yeah, I think Sontier has all of these Black Hawks out there doing nothing. Those planes should be manually sold, even though they can be, even though they have machine guns. And the points should be spent into something else. There must be something in the deck. Just get like extra recon or whatever. Or the frontline infantry being 0 vet for Sontier, which is kind of a necessity for 11th Horse with their very limited infantry slots. That's not really carrying the way here. The aircamp troopers or any other troopers fighting on their own are always going to be just even against standard 24th units, they're going to be undergunned because the enemy is either going to be vet 1 or have Bradleys out there supporting them. So Sontier keeping up these fights without tank support is just slowly trading points for the enemy. Now an M1A1 does get bought here, but if you have Abramses in your deck, sell your Black Hawks and get an extra one. That one could actually be very crucial.
Oh, the LGB comes in for the M1 IP. It does get a close by hit, but it doesn't really deal enough damage to be relevant and gets shut down once more by the Chaparral. F-16 LGB with the small bombs, not dealing the best damage, and the M1 IP will make it into the zone, will be captured, at least reduce it to a +2, but Sontier only slightly more than 150 points away from turning this around point-wise. 4.5 minutes still to go, but Sontier now needs to hold the defensive line around Bravo, and there is so little there. M1 A1 and a Bradley coming up. There is an A10 in the sky again, and you don't have to stop all the enemy units, you only have to kill the enemy CV. Or stop that from reaching your zone. Like, there is no way that all of these units gonna be killed, but maybe you can snipe the M1 IP and keep the tick up like that. We are about to reach draw level of points, so 3Cats has to go deeper there if they want to win. Yes, we're now only a couple of points. Now 3 more points. And yeah, now we are in draw territory. Less than 1 points difference between the two players, so this map would be counted as a draw. A10 comes in on the hunt for the IP, but gets pushed back and shot to pieces by the Chaparrals. No kill there against the M1 IP, and the Bradley push goes through. Will stop the tick most likely. Engineers here under attack. We have a Strike Eagle and F-15 in the rear, so the situation here for Sontier is not developing greatly right now. Has an M1 A1 around that can engage the IP. Does miss the first shot though. Bradley coming in with a TOW 2 that will hit pretty hard. Stresses out the M1A1. A10 AT gets shot down.
Oh, but the A10 hits the shot.
He got the IP.
Yeah.
Oh.
And there's no extra leader. You need to have a redundancy leader for exactly this situation.
Oh no, the +2 keeps on ticking here. The CP mud is just being bought, but this might be too much for it to even get a draw at this stage. It will try to rush to the front line, but it will take a minute or so. Oh no. 3Cats in shambles here, trying to push further in the south. Might be able to make it all the way to Papa and maybe get a couple more points to bring it back into draw territory, but I don't see a way for them to get the win here anymore. So the best they can maybe hope for here is a draw. They should be able to at least get through the first zone, but they need now to just rush all the way to Papa. Yeah, not having a redundancy leader already bought, always a mistake in the late stage of the game, just by 1 or 2 extra leaders, so that situations like this don't just ruin your whole game. As, oh, the M1 IP now trying to dive deep with the Bradleys here. Bradley's coming around the corner as well. Smoke clears up, and everybody will start firing at each other again. As mech rifles with Dragon 2s can do a good amount of damage here as well. Dismounted troopers pushing forward. National Guard, Bradley pushed back. Fire Team Dragon and Fire Team 84 slowly moving forward. We have a quick fix diving real deep here. And seeing a lot of stuff. Not really important right now. The important part is this. Now, more than 1 point lead for Sontier. So, our player in blue needs some points again. And they are still far away. They will make it to Bravo, I believe, but they won't make it to Papa. And I guess that's gonna be a W for Sontier.
Yeah, the Strike Eagle coming in here and just doing the last disrespect bombings against the Shitbox Dragon. I was so ready to say that the F-15 once again does not get the first shot hit, which would have allowed them to drive off the A-10, then immediately getting the kill. But meanwhile, the locked-on missile launches at the last second to go against the leader tank. That was so big, so huge. And I'm sure both of these players kind of, if they realized what happened there, I know that the quick fix did spot the MUT, and now with 22 seconds left, the MUT is going to not allow for a draw, unfortunately. Just the last dismounted troopers and CEVs driving themselves to physically prevent the enemy from also getting into Papa.
Yeah, gets the point, but it's too late. Sontier got the points they needed to get the W here. And yeah, 8-10s here, the absolute MVPs of this game. We haven't seen them roll like this in a long while, but the amount of kills achieved by these 8-10s, really phenomenal.
Yeah, 3 cats. I mean, of course, in the end, when you other side has the mech blow up and the other doesn't, the kill count does get the KDR gets a little bit swayed. But yeah, I'd say large parts of the game, Sontir was completely equal or even trading positively, but just repeated losses of M1A1s, never building up a large force, always having them like outnumbered by the blue units. And then especially when the fighting started happening in the northern part of the map, it was pretty clear that it took a lot of attention away from both players allowing the opponent to get some really important kills, especially with these A10s. Just look at this one A10 Ashley just like chewing through the like a full card of like basically like 3 cards of units at this point, I think. Second A10 also managing to get some key IP kills, but I'd say like both players there both surpassed and underwhelmed at parts. I think 3 cats was given a lot of leeway to build back by Sontir playing more carefully. 3 cats' mistakes were not punished, and 3 cats kind of got back in the mid game by just aggressively fighting and microing with a group of units, and Sontir playing more passively just kind of kept that happening, allowed that to keep going while doing the slow build-up for the nearly defenseless parts of the northern area. And this, of course, game sense is not just like a magical skill. It's about keeping track of what you have seen, kind of getting the automatic understanding via experience of how much your kills and deaths are worth, and also just recon more aggressively. You have quick fixes. Those things have 40 ECM. You have helicopters, you have transport. Just keep sending them forwards, because you might find out that you were fighting a ruse.
Yeah, and that
Clap
brings
back to
us
the YouTube title, ruse.
to the next division, guys. So Division 4 here, our newbies playing, or our competitive play. new faces or people who just want to play casually. And we're gonna step it up now one level in professionalism and skill level, and move on to Division 3. So quick break, guys. Then we're gonna be back with some Division 3 action. So here we go, everybody. Ezra Reese versus Trisco from Division 3 here coming along. And we have some nice little action here on Urban Frontlines. Finally, a day where we don't see two lakes immediately, and we see some maps that we don't see as often usually. Urban Frontlines, one of my favorite maps out of the newer ones. It has 9 zones, they're split up nicely. We have some cool, unique features in the terrain in the middle, with a lot of high rises and so on. And
It's impeccably balanced, of course.
it is pretty decently balanced. And we
Yeah.
have 35th VDV and 82nd US, so 2 4 deploy divisions here smacking it out. And I'm all for
Yes, the
that.
vanilla ones.
Yeah, 82nd here coming in with Airborne, LRS, and Co. 35th coming in with a lot of Spetsnaz and VTVs here, the Janikis, but especially Spetsnaz here coming in quite hard. And which division do you prefer in this matchup?
I would say absolutely 35th. 82nd does have some units than some compositions that are kind of superior due to having higher tech units. They have they have TOW2 missiles, a lot of them. They have Apaches, which are amazing, especially in long distances. They have the LAVs, which are some of the best raiding units that can abuse like enemy larger, wider front lines and get into the back lines. But when it comes to just straight up infantry fighting, the 35th compositions are better. They have a lot of cheap and valuable infantry support. They have transports with autocannons, with multiple machine guns, whereas the 82nd largely counters by having larger, more expensive squads and having Dragon missiles, which are the only a counter up to 1,250 meters, which on this map is better than on the most of them. But I think just straight up these divisions going out there and grinding against each other in the middle, 35th is going to win like 4 times out of 5, I think, on average. But 82nd would be better or against other divisions here, maybe. Could be better on other maps against 35th, maybe. But especially with the urban front lines, concentrated infantry fighting, there are no Spetsnaz to break through here for SRs. There are no BMD2s. And the fighter planes will not be able, and the bombers won't be able to compensate for all of the good stuff and the numerous stuff and the fast transporter stuff that 35th can bring out. 35th can also does have enough AT, both in kind of vehicle form with the Conqueror's missiles and with airplanes, that investing into the expensive American high-tech stuff like the Apaches can pretty quickly turn against you when you realize that now you need to buy some more of your expensive infantry to replace some that lost against like a Desant Pulemechiki.
Yeah, both sides here coming in with some grenade launchers. No BMP2s here actually at the beginning, only some BTRDs, which have a grenade launcher on top as well. But on the other side, also no LAVs, which is surprising. They just got buffed, and I thought that might be the main reason why we see it here out of Isaris, because they went down to 80 points again, which is a pretty fair price for them. At 100 points, they were a good bit overpriced. That was just a reaction back in the day to when 82nd was dominating the meta. That has been a good while ago. Forward deploy divisions aren't the thing to be anymore. They are still solid. They have their place, but they aren't the be-all end-all. And
the Kiowa recon helicopter taken out by a deploying Scratchet, immediately donating a chopper to the Soviets is not the best. 82nd taking a defensive and pretty standard front line with the grenade machine guns taking a center stance here, and infantry trying to take the longer engagements. With the opener buy of one 105mm howitzer for the Americans obviously have a plan here, trying to play this one defensively. But I'm afraid that with the BTRDs having grenade launchers and Scratchets having the AA guns here, and the Plamias also supporting, there's just too much immediate firepower for the Soviets, even without the BMDs. And the F-15 here is a huge point sink that is not really doing anything except possibly getting attacked by an Igla.
Yeah, airborne dragons here, starting to take out a couple of shots. Getting one BTRD killed off. Airborne's trying to push forward, but Desant Pulemechiki with 3 PKMs there, already in a good spot. The Airborne's actually with the veterancy advantage across the board, so the infantry fights, if they are pure infantry fights, should go as a way in quality. It's 1 veterancy for Trisco's units versus 2 veterancy for the airborne troopers here for the most part. Ooh, Sheridan has a lot of HE as well. Issue is just that it will get one-shot by any ATGM out there. But yeah, as a fire support unit, it can work out nicely. Little birds coming around, those got buffed in availability. So a helicopter plop could maybe be an option as well, but not a single little bird that just gets shut down like that. So A-10 rocket now getting into the action as well. Yeah, 82nd could play this as an air spam. It could potentially work, but you need to really get some valuable kills from the get-go. And the A-10 already off target, gets hit twice, and the Scratchet actually shoot it down, and that's really not the start that you want in the airplay here as Azaris.
Yeah, the Scratchets are so powerful. With 45 points, you get this very powerful AA and infantry support weapon that also comes along with your Iglas. Iglas already being kind of a necessity if you're playing against 82nd, because you're always going to have the OH-58s and Apaches and counter-attacking Hawk helicopters coming down with rockets. So the standard unit composition for 35th just has a counter for this. And now, whenever there are actual infantry fights to be had, the Pulemechiki and the Spetsnaz do actually, well controlled, can actually fight the airborne out pretty easily. The vetted up 105 howitzer, I'm a huge fan of this. It's very quick reloading, but its single DPS will not be here to compensate against the fact that nothing is being done against the Spetsnaz. The A-10 almost
getting Sheridan CV getting killed, and at the same time Azaris also failing to capture the points in the rear, leaving a 3+3 here. They have an OH command on the board, but it just landed slightly off zone there. And that is really painful. They get the D44 gun that killed the command Sheridan with the 105mm howitzer. Those howitzers really should keep on constantly firing. They are the only thing that maybe can turn the HE value situation here in the middle a bit around. Humvee AGL helping out against the Spetsnaz in the south, but the airborne engineer still taking a lot of damage.
The Black Hawk is landing way too close.
Ooh, it doesn't get shut down just yet. It can potentially land. Yes, it gets down. Okay, that is still pretty big. But 3 howitzers might be a bit too much when your front line is under so much pressure right now. A third 105mm howitzer coming in. Little Bird's infantry and some more M551 ACAFs on the way, but still no laughs or so for some real line action. The real line has been set up with a lot of radio stats as well to spot for those LAV movements. F-16 going really deep here, trying to hunt down the MiG-29, but flying over all the Iglas. It gets the kill against the MiG-29, and it might make it out alive as well. That was a risky push. Killing off the MiG-29 is a nice start for the air fights, but now the A-10 comes in again, and with the Strats and the Iglas still being at the same spots, and the concentration in the center still being the way it is, I don't see that's having a different outcome. I don't see this A-10 being more successful than the last one, meaning that it likely is just gonna die.
The LRS need to be in position to actually spot something, and now that they got in the middle there might be something. Hold on, I'm going to check here. Okay, SRS does have sighting here enough. The defensive recon and artillery and air game trying to fight off the endless good value units of 35th. It is a strategy. Like I said, I believe this is a significantly 35th favorite map here. But SRS does have a plan here, even if that plan has now failed to deal with the Spetsnaz units. Spetsnaz already reloading, and more airborne engineers are getting paid to fight them, are being bought to fight them at close ranges. Now artillery is coming in for Trisco as well, this time once again highly vetted up Nona self-propelled mortars. Now these things are absolute destroyers in this environment. The Nonas they reload fast, they fire fast, their range is short enough for them to be cheap, but they single salvo can easily take out even like expensive infantry squads.
Yeah, we have Sheridans pushing now through the south. They can deal a lot of damage to Spetsnaz if they spot them. The Igla got taken out in the south as well. OH has to be careful though, the Skretz is still around, so that's a mistake there of the OH-58 going this deep. I have no idea what it's actually trying to achieve with that move. And the Engineer Flash running into the range of the Spetsnaz will get hit by the RPO A and get down to 3 hit points immediately again. The ACAF's trying to move around, but SPG-9 moving in here as well to try to shoot them down. The Sheridan's really long reload time, so once they shot, they won't shoot fast anytime soon again. They do good HE damage with their shots, and the Sheridans actually find the SPG-9 before it can find a hit, as that has low accuracy. But the infantry fights still go pretty well for Trisco. And the Strats now pushing back helicopters here. OH-58 pushed back, gonna go down most likely. Yes, there we go, Little Bird went down. The support equipment fights just going into Trisco's favor here right now.
Yeah, the 82nd is more about doing like aggression after aggression, and compensates for its more expensive units by having stuff like your vast amounts of Little Birds and your A-10s, your top fighter, the F-15 with the AMRAAMs. You have the capacity to do this kind of mobile warfare, and you just but with 35th you have the capacity to take and win early infantry fights, as we saw, and then immediately fortify it and start doing whatever you want behind it. You can do mech spam with the BMDs, you can do air spam with the MiG-27s, and even the MiG-29s have good weapons loadouts with the very good missiles. And then you also get like artillery if you want with the Nonas. And even a standard infantry like defense from 35th has some of the best and best value units, none of which are overkill against airborne, and even like their ATGMs are. Do they actually get fagots with 35th, or is it only with 56th?
I'm not sure, but yeah, LRS
Yeah.
moving forward. Nona's here trying to get some kills. The Sheridans did a decent amount of work up south. OH-58 tried to be sneaky in the north, but there's so much red force there as well to block them already. Sheridans finally get through some Spetsnaz here, but LRS get killed off as well. The Sheridans try their best here to deal some damage, but they are pretty slow at it, and the Nonas come in with counterfire there, and the D30s. So better artillery here now on the side of Trisco as well. That one advantage that is a reset here as of late is going down. The 105s are weaker than the 120mm on the other side, and they even will get countered by the Reed here now. More 105mm howitzers coming in. Ezra is really doubling down on this gameplay plan, but I'm not convinced that this is the way to go forward here.
Yeah, this kind of fire supremacy strategy, trying to beat a more numerous and generally like better value enemy, is only going to work at the point when Trisco realizes that they can just transition into BMD2s, which are just powerful enough to be a huge problem, but numerous enough and fast enough to not be taken out by the 105s.
Yeah, and the F-15 there just yeeting itself in there without achieving anything for it. We have A10A rocket coming in from the other side, trying to go for some kills here. Airborne engineers trying to hold the ground. 105mm artillery at least does survive for now. The A10 comes around again, gets a bit of damage in there, but also takes a good amount, so it will be out of the fight for a while. And at the same time, the ground fight's not going so well. Shred's getting a decent amount of kills, a lot of airborne engineers and airborne dragons. All the infantry here just getting shredded because of the fire support of the 35th, whilst Isaris is lacking that amount of fire, that kind of fire support. And yeah, not playing for the flexibility, not playing for some stuff like the LAF, like playing 80-second conventional is not the way. It's a division that is based on its specializations, and if you try to win the conventional way, you're just gonna lose.
Yeah, the Scratchettes basically like they hard counter everything here. They are just armored enough to survive the light bombings. They are fast enough. They have enough weaponry against both air and infantry targets. And the Sheridans here could be the key. The Sheridans having good HE damage and being affordable, but those things are still 80 points. Like it's 80 points and you lose it against a single shot by an enemy AT weapon or a single shot by basically any missile. If the Sheridans had been like mega microed early on to destroy the Spetsnaz in close ranges, where the Spetsnaz, of course, don't have AT weapons themselves, maybe something could have happened here. But now with these all of the fire support coming in here for Trisco, the Sheridans are kind of outmoded at this point. The only thing that can fight against this would be some kind of mech, and they just is not anything.
Yeah, and no left radar forces is just kind of a death sentence as well. Like, that's one of the advantages that you have that can get you early positions, the left being faster than the BMD2s and so on the other side, so you could gain positions that the other side would have to push you back in, but they even gave the middle zone for free to the enemy. Like, if the left raiders would have just come in fast and maybe shut down the BTRDs before they could unload or something like that. Like, those are the things that you need to achieve with 82nd. Surprising your enemy, getting some momentum into the game, getting it to be a bit more hectic so that your helicopters, for example, can overrun the position where the enemy maybe lacks AA and so on, but just trying to funnel into enemy mechanized forces that 35th gets as a unique thing for an forward deploy unit division. That doesn't work, and yeah, we see it fail here. And Azaris going down to Trisco. Trisco getting the W and playing 35th exactly as you want to play it. Really well played there, setting up everything they needed to get the W here. 2-0 KD, 2-1 KD. Really well played by Trisco.
Yeah, it was Trisco did play standard there, but especially the choices with the unit combinations, the vetted up E-class and the vetted up Scratchets, the fact that the Scratchets kept moving around and the Spetsnaz never overextended, even if the Spetsnaz got a bunch of kills, they did not move in positions where something like a Sheridan or Little Birch could take them out, but they basically retreated back in the safe positions, thus once again daring the enemy to buy even more infantry to fight those Spetsnaz close quarters. Some good decisions made. The early investment into the F-15 is natural for an 82nd player, but really there had to be something that F-15 could actually cover. It is not there just to, it is too expensive to just guard for an enemy bomber opener. Instead, there should have been, I don't know if you do a heli drop. I don't know if you do a little bird attack somewhere. I don't know if you send in the LAVs as like frontline support, doing early firepower. 3 of them maybe could like overpower Conqueror's missiles. If you micro them with smokes, you can keep them alive maybe. And then when the enemy sends in a helicopter, that's when you buy your plane to counter. Maybe you don't buy it, but you save the points on your tab. It is difficult because you don't get long range AA spotting, so it's always like seems like a good choice to buy a single top fighter. But as a caster, I just feel like all of those points could have been so much better used.
Yeah, really a weird take on the 82nd there, and yeah, not quite set up for the fights. 82nd, it isn't the infantry powerhouse that you maybe would expect out of it. It doesn't have any special forces, like it doesn't have the Delta like the 101st. It doesn't have any Spetsnaz or so. So your infantry is good, but it's not the way to victory. It can't overcome everything, and you need to use your good support American tools that are a bit expensive but strong, like either air spam, helicopter spam, or rush around with LAVs. Something of those 3 things has to happen. Otherwise, you will lose every single game of this division against a competent opponent, and Trisco is that. So, yeah, Trisco wins game number 2 here. We will see what Ezra Risk will bring up in game number 2, and we will be in a slightly longer break here, as Chloride has to go AFK for a minute. So, we'll be back in 6 minutes, guys, with the next game. We will give Chlorite 2 more minutes here. Yes, yeah, he had to run to a shop before it closes to get some stuff, but it's right next door to his place. Sorry for the waiting time, guys. We'll be back ASAP. Sorry guys, but still no Chlorite. The shop runs usually go faster than this. Not sure if he ran into somebody. If we give him one more minute, then we're gonna start with the game without him. And So we returned, guys. Quick break to get the important hot sauce. And now we have Azaris versus Trisco coming up here for game number 2. And it is a really cool matchup. As we have Azaris bringing around first UK, which is an armored division, and Trisco bringing around the second UK division, which is an infantry division. Coming around with the SAS and all of that hot stuff. Though the forward deployment of the first UK got buffed lately as well. Their Terrier Para got buffed in price, and that might be interesting, but we don't see much of this here. Only SAS Patrol and some Gazelles and some Spartans, so no forward deploy rush, it seems to be out of Azaris. Instead, classic Chieftains here. And yeah, both divisions I would rank really high. Which division do you think is better for this map, though? Chloride.
For this map, I think on the abstract, I'd say first UK is because this map does play into the late game pretty reliably. It's very difficult to get like a finishing blow early on with only 8 points and with the map design being what it is. The First UK has the ability to get into the late game with those affordable and expendable tanks. They have a bunch of warrior appliques, which are very powerful in securing areas against the limited armored and mech tabs of the second UK. But of course, if the second UK gets very good trades early on, especially using those SAS to both shoot down enemy planes and fight off enemy advances, they have a bunch of helicopters. Those helicopters have rockets. Those rockets can be microed to eliminate the enemy opener. And then, from that position, you can do basically anything. And if SRS has to fight against an early loss, the first UK's units are not necessarily powerful enough to survive that. You do want to have some level of air supremacy yourself with your large air tab and a bunch of helicopters. But looking at the deployments here, we're seeing a relatively standard conservative deployment from Esaris, and also relatively standard kind of conservative deployment coming from Trisco. And whether or not this deployment is immediately followed up by a push is a completely different thing. We're not seeing Trisco invest into the north, which is smart. Very few fights early on happen around Charlie when second UK is concerned. Nobody just contests against it. You can also fighting on Charlie. You can get like Lynx rockets there basically immediately, so nobody wants to challenge it. And but on the middle here, with a significant investment of expensive SAS units, if those guys get spotted by the Gazelles, if they get surrounded by some mech, that's not the best position to keep playing.
Yeah, SAS moving in there towards Bravo. The second UK got nerfed in its amount of challengers that it can bring. So a late game, they just might run out of armor and forces to put up against first UK. So if first UK can make it into a late game, I think they can just build up a plop and A-click over second UK now, finally again. As second UK getting heavy tanks all throughout the game was a bit stale for a division that also has such a good opener, has such a good air tap, and such a good helicopter support as well. So I think that nerf was well deserved, and I'm happy that it got implemented. But the question is, can first UK make it that deep, or will it get smacked in the early game by the strong air force, by the SAS catching some units off guards, killing off some enemy planes and so on. Tornado coming in, but it has to be careful with the stingers and so on around. Ooh, Jaguar flying to the side here. Not directly open off. Gets shot down. Gets a hit against the Tornado at least. So Tornado forced out as well, but good first kill here. First blood for Azaris.
Yeah, now we're seeing the SAS methodically moving forwards as supposed to, with the SAS patrol deploying very conservatively into spotting positions, just waiting for all the mech to come about here. I think the worst thing that you can do as second UK, especially now that the Challenger tab has been nerfed significantly, is to keep up the aggro stance while also buying mech. I think sending in singular challengers, sending in small groups of warriors, and attacking first UK is just not the way to go. If you're going to play with the mech, you either play with it defensively or you mass it up. Otherwise, you're just going to donate it away against the warrior up leagues. Now, the first infantry fight is going to happen with the SAS patrol and the SAS opening fire on each other. The warrior up leagues are getting pretty close here, risking getting into anti-tank rocket launcher range. But right outside of this range, the warrior up leagues can do very easy and free damage basically against all of the units out here. Airborne pioneers have Carl Gustavs, which are a big threat to them, but the SAS patrol also has line of sight over the enemy here.
Yes, and the Fox got killed by the Scout Law 80. Wingfire here coming around from the south as well. The Bleaks pushing back the SAS. They have to fall back slightly damaged. Well, it's a lot of rovers being sold here on one side. Other side, not quite as many rovers being sold. So that will be a slight purchasing power boost there for Trisco in a second when all of those will be sold. Whilst we have Gazelle rockets coming in, a good amount of scimitars coming in. So Trisco, ooh, Klaska Jaguar, that is hot.
Yeah, there is nothing here to punish it outside of the Javelin right now. No fighter plane out. Javelins miss.
Second Javelin gets a hit. So it will be out for a bit longer, but gets the Chieftain Mark 9. That's a good kill. Will be around for later pushes. Though the Tornado will most likely be repaired beforehand, so it will have to be careful next time around, as there will be opposition in the sky when it comes around again.
Yeah, the right now SAS patrol and armored rifles are moving up here. Warrior up leagues and chieftain in a perfect position to counter this, immediately opening fire, and SAS melts like toilet paper. Now SAS patrol gets another spotting capacity just a few meters forward for the warrior up leagues, and they can once again open fire. Even the warrior ICB getting out there and giving the forces the veterancy bonus, increasing their DPS here. This is very, very well organized by SRS. Trisco just did not.
Getting a bit too close now, though. SAS and Air Mobile Pioneers able to shoot a lot of launchers there. They will run out eventually, but they get a warrior, they get a chieftain, and they don't get shut down quickly enough here to be stopped from doing that. The warrior Pleak now still in range, gets hit another time. A lot of blue units dying there without achieving all that much. A seed plane coming around, okay, interesting investment there. Warrior ICV and Warrior Pleak still dealing damage, but the Mobile Pioneers and SAS do survive. And a supply truck, a Bedford supply truck now being bought, can bring them up again. So as a risk there with a bad trade, just pushing a bit too close and eating those launchers.
Yeah, we can see SRS has purposefully built a very nice concave with these swing fire missiles firing from both directions, and is also trying to push the northern area, which is very crucial to actually sieging this position, with a rocket heli here doing a lot of damage against the assault pioneers, unfortunately. So despite that bad engagement, and despite losing this scimitar to a Milan too, SRS is still in a pretty decent location position. Having a leader to cut the southern position would be important to stop the tick. And of course, in a moment, Trisco will be able to get the northern position as well as their leader arrives there. But SRS is not out of the game here yet. And with this map being played quite slowly, these veteran tank and infantry reinforcements and another leader getting ordered to push the middle here, I think it's potential that on the long term, SRS's positioning works better. We saw that in the early game, they had obviously a very well planned out and figured out tactic. That tactic did not work, but its execution was still pretty all right. Now, in this wider map that rewards positioning better, we're seeing that, I mean, the challenger is engaging like a massive line of horrible threats to it. And if the challengers start getting traded away one by one without a proper mass getting built for Trisco, that's a win condition for SRS.
Oh, but Warriors getting taken out. Chieftain Magnaw now getting involved, but still hitting SAS here, not hitting the Challenger. The Milan 2 team on the side there helping out. More warriors now coming in for Trisco onto the front line, dealing good amount of damage, and the trades currently still heavily in favor of Trisco, getting off the Assault Pioneers. The SAS still alive, Chieftain trying to come around, Warrior not able to deal with the Challenger now able to kill off the Swingfire as well, taking away all opposition, and is the biggest boy on the front line. Chieftain Mark 9 in trouble as well, able to smoke off, will have to disengage. Warrior ICV has to be careful there, shouldn't be there right now, as Challenger can push over it quite quickly as well, and it will do so. Oh no, bad trades there by Azaris. This is a good spot now for Trisco to be in here, pushing slowly forward.
Yeah, this the helicopters getting used and microed well here is has just allowed Trisco to get a bunch of free damage. The one Challenger being a complete hero and like fighting most of this front line, of course, had a pretty decent luck. Did not get shot. Didn't even get its cohesion hurt. And now with the infantry reinforcements getting bought here, by the time the infantry reinforcements will be here, there will be another wave of tanks, and Esaris is wanting to punish this with an air attack right now. Doesn't really have the units on board to do anything massive, but they can manage an engagement as long as the planes do something worthwhile. 2 SAS getting in here. SAS are not on a hunt command, so they did not fire, but now in the buildings, get a second hit against the tornadoes.
Yeah, 2 Bedford supplies dying. That's not really a big hit. It's a nice hit, but it's not a big one. And the cluster plane will be out for a while here now. Meanwhile, the Milan 2 team in the south has been resupplied, killing off another Swingfire. Scimitar there in trouble as well. Warrior Milan from the south engaging 2. And the combined arms of the first UK player here starts to fall apart dangerously now. Scimitar now under fire by the Milan 2 as well. Artillery coming out on the other side already. There is a Challenger Mark 3 in the middle. There is still some recon. Jaguar cluster coming in. Actually on a weird angle. Track trap here. And Javelin get the kill there. Finally some victory again for Azaris. But the situation in general on the ground isn't developing all that favorably. They will stop the take now. That is nice. Terrier, Para, Carl Gustav pushing forward. Weird that they come in now instead of the forward deployment, as they are not better than other infantry that you got if you buy them in later. The only real reason to have this in your deck is if you want to use it with forward deployment. But yeah, coming in now here, Carl Gustav infantry will try to push around against the warrior.
If you look at the Trisco positioning, like on the southern position, Trisco's having the Warrior Milan and the armored rifles there. That's such a good concave here. Like Esaris has been feeding units down south and just putting them into bad engagements. Now even with the Challenger out there being able to provide fire support and a bunch of points wasted for a siege plane that has nothing to target here outside of trying to dive the helicopters. But a significant tempo advantage here for Trisco with another bomber coming in with a tornado attacking right in the front line.
Yeah, it will hit the SAS there, but those likely gonna die anyway. So that kill not all that relevant. The Warrior, Pleak, and Challenger in the middle still trying to hold out. Challenger Mark 2 from the other side dealing good amount of damage. Chieftain moving in a dangerous position where the Warriors of the other side could potentially hit them as well. And the situation here still a tough one in the center. Lynx rocket trying to come around in the south. Will try to get the kill here against the CV and seems to be successful. Yes, the snap rockets getting a kill against the warrior. Fito Lynx got shot down by the autocannon, but that's a fair trade. Will bring it back to a +2 lead. Tornado HE coming around again. Needs to hit it big.
The M107 destroying and killing a warrior uplink and the Challenger Mark 3. That's the top tank of first UK getting taken out without being able to fight against the other tanks with it. Now another attack, the fortified northern flank of the middle is going there and facing a Spartan MCT and a chieftain. Nothing really to do about that, but just a single smoke and some infantry pushing there. And that's second UK can easily cross that gap. And meanwhile, the attacks down south with the motorized air mobiles, very good 9-man units with the Carl
Yeah.
Gustavs, my favorite 80 weapons.
Tornado
Easily
coming
can
around in the middle, getting a bombing run off, but gets shut down by the SAS. That's the power of the SAS. That's why this unit is so busted. That's why it is in every single second UK deck, and that's why second UK has been top of the meta for such a long time. And GG comes out as well, as the Tornado went down, the push didn't work, Trisco once more up in trades, and Azaris maybe not out of this at this stage, but did not have the motivation to play on there at this point, as the second UK did kept the punishment coming, the better combined arms, and yeah, first UK not playing its tempo at all, and the armored fights going in favor of second UK obviously is the nail in the coffin there. If a challenger is able to take off this much away from you without you getting a kill on it, it's a pretty tough spot to be in.
Yeah, by the time you have enough forces to actually do a mech push again, the enemy infantry will have gotten so far away because you just can't really attrition away motorized air mobiles on close ranges. Anytime you send like a warrior uplink to try to do fire superiority, the challengers and enemy helicopters will move in and remove your stuff. And whenever you try to send infantry out there, they're just going to be either rocketed or taken out with the challenger tanks and the motorized air mobiles, of course, doing great damage. So, not. I think the possibilities for first UK victories were there. As I said, Esaris had the positioning down very well. It really was a series of bad mistakes, especially in sending the units, the way that the fights were fought down south. Repeatedly, Esaris walked into what was basically a trap with a pretty expensive combination of units and did not achieve anything by it. And also the middle attacks, like if those attacks, if those units had been sent to do a little bit of extra support in those crucial tank engagements, it could have been that the kill could have been gotten and like fire supremacy could have achieved before second UK just absolutely and completely fortified everything. There was a lack of anti-air also against the helicopters, and as we know, the Sneb rockets of the British helicopters are more accurate. At least they used to be way more accurate than other helicopter rockets, so they can actually reliably, using their rocket pod, spray down something like a warrior.
Yeah, they have the rate of fire and the accuracy of the gun-mounted rocket pods because they are the same as on planes, and that's what makes them so deadly. And yeah, deadlier than other helicopter rockets. That's why those second UK transport helicopters are so good. And yeah, with that said, guys, let's move on one more step higher into competitive territory of Division 2, where we will have Matrine versus Nocturna coming up. So, quick break, guys, and then we have a veteran versus a new face in Division 2. Quick break, and then we have some lively, more WARNO action coming right your way. we go, everybody. Division 2 action here. Nocturna versus Matrine. And we are ready to go with an interesting matchup here. As we have 79 for Nocturna versus 4th Moto. A really aggressive deck here for Matrine. But before we jump in, a quick shout out to the Matcherino page, guys. As this is where you can support the tournament. And you can do so either directly with a donation if you feel like supporting the tournament even further. But you also can add money completely for free. And all you have to do is go to the page, link in the chat right now, and click the claim code button up on the top right here. And it adds free money to the prize pool. You have to do nothing else but clicking that button and just logging in with any account out there. And yeah, you add 25 cents immediately to the prize pool. As I said, every contribution here is highly welcome, will be paid out fully to the players in the end. So if we get it high enough, Division 2 and 3 will get part of the prize pool as well. So if you want to get a bit of extra motivation to the players in front of it here, try to go over to Matcherino and give at least the free money there. Much appreciated, all the support, guys. Thanks to all the new followers today. If you haven't followed over at Chloride's channel, do that right now as well, guys. And then we will get you back here into 79 versus 4th Moto, as we already have a good deployment here out of Matrine, don't we?
Yeah, we have two very aggressive openers here. Surprisingly, we are seeing, first of all, kind of a defensive forward deployment or relatively defensive forward deployment opener coming in for 4th Moto with the East German Special Forces, but both the ATGMs, the Metises, and just like recon all around the place. The number of units on board would suggest that there's going to be a bunch of air, which I think is pretty justified, especially because if you get the seed plane, you can maybe take out the expensive anti-air that 79th generally brings out, whether it be Kubes or Tunguskas or even Shilkas, which are rarer. But from Nocturna, if we look at the 79th Guards Tank Corps, we're seeing a bunch of Rasvedka BMP2s and Protoss. These are not zero vet. These are Veterancy 1 recon units, which means that they are dedicated assault units. Very powerful detail, very expensive. You get 140 points for those two units, but the firepower that as a recon unit that they can bring out is unmatched. So if something is going to be able to outpower the few spec ops units out there, it is this opener. If you don't do anything, if these units just trade away, that's going to be a huge loss against the forward deployment opponent. You're going to give a bunch of tempo for your enemy. And because the forces behind this recon rush almost are very limited. There are some flame tank TO-55s and nothing outside of that. They have a better MiG-29, I believe, the AA-3. Both sides have a bunch of Kubes. 79th has Su-25s, which act much like the A-10s, but also there are not going to be, on Matrine's side, 4th Moto, they have way better anti-air than they have the tanks, so investing into close air support is not necessarily the best. Now here we can see the MiG-29 with the R-27 R missiles, which are the longest range ones that the MiG-29s can have, and also the best Soviet heat seekers, the R-73s, whereas the opposing one has the shorter range, long-range missiles, but with the fire and forget capacity, the MiG-29 AA-3.
Yeah, and Matrine here coming out without any T-55s though, which is an interesting choice, as I would have expected at least a couple going around. The TO-55s there, yes, it's only TO-55s, but it's 3 of them with 2 veterancy, which is the way how you play them usually now. With the patch, they also got another extra PKT, so they are extra deadly, and the only thing there that can fire upon them is a Fagot and 2 Medis. So that's not a lot of AT power there to stop the TO-55s from pushing through. In the middle, we already see a CV going down to the Spetsnaz GRU, and that means the BMP2s there have little to worry about as well. And this is a pretty scary information here now for Matrine, as Matrine is already getting pushed now by the BMP2s there. The CV gets a KPV down in the south. MiG-23 with rockets gets his Spetsnaz GRU, gets a bit more damage spread around. The S-24 rockets hitting pretty hard. Reload time on them is relatively short, though the 8 KOM rockets, they have a pretty long reload time. They're all used up here now against the BMP2s. Not dealing super much damage, but Rajretka BMP2s in the middle going down to the Medis. So that is a victory here for Matrin. Getting 2 Rajretka BMP2s killed off is a nice situation to be in now in that regard. But the TO-55s, how do you stop those now?
Yeah, the TO-55s are stopped by a wide front line of ATGMs, which currently is not active yet. Nocturna's Spetsnaz GRU getting those kills early on there with the Fagot and then fighting off the Fashion Metis is very crucial. Now the MiG-21 bombers are hitting the clamped up units here, not doing critical damage, but still weakening the attack and not getting hurt while doing so, with an air supremacy fighter from Matrin guarding the attack in the middle. Well, the Fallschirmjägers were taking fire from all parts of the front line. That kind of showed that those FS Jaegers were not the best choice there. They required fire support. They required tanks or something, maybe T-55 AM2s to actually do it. And now with the expensive units having been grinded out by the fire support and on the air counterattacks not achieving anything, it looks like it's kind of like a clear mech push time here. I really like Nocturna. I mean, the idea of Nocturna here seemed to be, I want to do a BMP2 attack. I wanted to start with my opener. And immediately after the opener BMP2 attack happens, second waves of BMP2Ds, this time better value, as well as even a T80 coming down there. If this succeeds, it's going to be a great example of how kind of recon rushing mech aggro can work even with the heaviest divisions such as 79th.
Yeah, the Conquerors here being a bit too far forward. BMP2's likely gonna kill it off. That's unfortunate there, as now Matrin is getting overrun here completely in the south. Has to fall back. Has a 100 point lead that most likely won't get much bigger now, as likely BRDM2 is going to stop the tick here soon. And we'll have to find a way back into the south. Still has that air advantage, which could be leveraged into something big. Has a decent amount of forces in the north, but for now, Mi-24s and defensive units here trying to save the situation, come around. TO-55 push though keeps on going. Sicherungs only have RPG-18s. Those can deal good damage from the side, but frontal hits won't do much here against the TO-55s. And those come around with the flamethrowers now. Sicherungs getting just outright eliminated there. And little here to deal with them. T-55 AM2B finally coming in. I'm really surprised we didn't have them earlier. Conquerors getting shot. Have to unload soon here. Trying to get some ATGMs around. The Mi-24P with Cocon missiles around as well. The TO-55s don't have smoke, so they can't disengage away from this too easily. As the T-55 AM2B comes around. MiG-23ML on the way. We only now see Estrella coming in from the rear. The Mi-24 might be in trouble. Gets shut down. MiG-29 doesn't seem to be around to get the kill here. And this situation here is not developing in favor of Matrin at all. The TO-55s all around, only one going down once the helicopter died. And we see all the BMP2s now coming in. There are only a couple of Conquerors now in second T-55 AM2B, whilst we have a T-80B coming in here as well. And 155 points is enough for victory if you have it right at the end of the game, but that's still 34 minutes away. And fourth is the lighter division here. It needs some more damage than this.
Yeah, the T-55 sniping out the BMP-2 out there, which is a nice little kill to get there in the moment. But we're seeing like Nocturna is deploying BMPs, even going further up north, pushing with the Motora Svedka. Exactly what you're supposed to do. You notice that your enemy is weak. You have gotten a bunch of damage. Your enemy is probably buying all of their defenses or most of their reinforcements into defending the back point. Now you just extend your fire supremacy. Just go further up north. There's a single Fagot, they microed against it, and now it's done. There's a single Conquerors further away that can also be microed against. can be even targeted. MiG-21 going out there and removing a Motostrelki squad is nice, but it's not really doing anything to solve the core issue. Now, fourth Moto does not have the best AT planes. They have the AT planes armed with rockets also, but the AT missiles with them are just critically inaccurate. The actually good attack planes are with 7th Panzer, the Su-22, and fourth Moto cannot have like something like an Su-22 reliably go out there and take out two tanks every once in a while. So a lot of players, I think, just don't even pick out the 35 accuracy AT missiles.
Okay, BMP2Ds here though, going down at least to the Conquerors. Conquerors getting some decent trades there. That's good news, but there are still a couple of forces here for Nocturna pushing in. BRM 1K trying to get some kills. Ooh, Medis pushing back the BMP2D once more. And whilst we have Motschützen SVD coming in, no helicopter, but Bomber might be able to come around again. BMP1s and Motschützen rushing in, but on the other side we have the next BMP2 wall. Nocturna just buying the BMP2 walls. 5 more coming in here with a Razvedka in front and a Mi-8 helicopter. And there is no force ready for 5 BMP2s right now in the north here for Matrin.
As a wise man once said, when you're ahead, get further ahead. And this is exactly, you have a bunch of units out there, you've created a huge problem that your enemy has to deal with and buy their units with and position against. Now, just do it again. Just why not? If you can do that, if you found a weakness, just start doing that. Now we can see the MiG-23s are actually going out there and doing some nice infantry damage. Not that it's really going to be crucial at this position, because it's not really possible for Matrin to enter the zone anymore. But the air fights are happening without the limited air cover of Nocturna. Oh, now they're turning it towards the Kub. Oh no, the Kub is outside of the supply, and it does not have missiles.
Yeah, MiG-23 rocket gets hit here on the way out. One Su-24 got shut down on the other side, but both sides' fighters did survive. Bombing hits on both sides, dealing decent amount of damage, and that likely is going to allow Nocturna to get full control over the zone, and that is a nightmare scenario here now for Matrin, as Matrin now has to push in into the northern and the southern zone with a division that usually wants to be the one pushed into and not the one pushing at this stage of the game, as T-55 AM2Bs are great defensive tools, not so much offensive, and that goes for most of the other tools as well. BMP1's way better on the defense than the offense as well, and we don't see much room here outside of potential air spam to get Matrin into the spot they want to be in. Bomber does a decent amount of damage, but doesn't kill off the unit, as more units here roll in on both sides to support the situation up there.
Yeah, the MiG-21s especially are really on a clock because they get one shot by Kubes, and a single Kube is cheaper than a single MiG-21. So with just a single hit, the Kube can immediately start trading up. And the MiG-21s also are only really useful for reliably removing infantry units, and with the BMP-2s being so numerous and all around the place, there's just not going to be value trying to fight them. The BMP-1s are going to lose against the BMP-2s if they are in gun range. They also have significantly less armor, 1/3 more armor for the BMP-2s, which will help them survive the Maljutka missiles and all of that jazz.
And with the Strelkis here being forced to unload early, BMP2D gets the BRM-1K. As Motschützen here trying to push in with some Fallschirmjägers. T-55 AM2 coming up. A couple of Fallschirmjäger Einsatztruppen, the Special Forces Infantry, that can win nice infantry fights if it's in the right spot, but currently a lot of mechanized forces there on the other side, and all the good spots are in the hand of Nocturna here. So Matrin trying to get in, but will be tough to achieve much here.
Yeah, the BMP-2s just moving around with purpose, doing it aggressively, going and trying to look for the enemy's weak positions, not just sitting back with them, noticing that there are no helicopters, nothing, no AT planes are coming in to punish him. So why not just keep abusing the mechanized advantage, the movement and the firepower advantage. Now, with the Fallschirmjägers and Motorschützen arriving into the zone, Einsatzgruppen landing in here, there is no AA to immediately punish this. Tunguska is only moving into position, and a Conquerors is preventing the Tunguskas from driving straight into the position. But as these fights happen, if you look at the BMP's cannon range, they can actually participate in this fight from the northern part, from other side of the zone. An AA helicopter actually moving in there, but that thing has a limited loadout of rockets. It cannot actually do anything.
Yeah. Motorjet going down, push into the zone happening here, but the BMP-2Ds from the side are really scary. T-55 AM2 can maybe help out there, gets the first one cleared out. If it can pick them off one by one, that would be pretty helpful. Gets the second shot out, gets a good hit. BMP-2D there, not getting involved. MiG-21 gets shut down by the Coop, as you predicted earlier. Just outright getting one-shotted. The T-55 AM2 in the north does a lot of work, but we currently now have a +2 for our player in blue, and that is ticking up quickly. Next MiG-21 goes down, as the T-55 is doing its job here. From the shadows, trying to kill off all the BMP-2s. Next one is a success as well. AM2B there, pushing slowly forward, but situation is that blue side has the +2 for now, and likely gonna get into the lead position with this.
Yeah, Akatsia firing actually against the Conquerors here instead of firing at the front line, but I guess if you're going to have mech reinforcements, you want to secure the reinforcement road so they don't drive into the enemy's Conquerors missile. With the T-80s on board here, there is nothing that can actually frontline fight against the T-80. There are no AT planes that we've seen so far, and the front line is not the widest. The biggest risk here is if the T-80 just drives in way too close to the infantry, but there are no the ATGM front line here is pretty limited, and going against the T-55s is just easy kills for T-80.
Yeah, T-55 AM2 there from the rear, still getting through engagements. More of them coming up now. Well, it's Motostrelki RPG-22. Slowly getting overwhelmed there. The zone got recaptured. It would be Troll territory right now, but there's already a BRDM-2U on the way to the northern zone, and that will shift it around and likely gonna push Nocturna above Matrine here in points. So Matrine will have to find some value elsewhere. Still has nice recon in the south, but this position is such a fortress. Getting through there is really tough, and I don't see Matrine achieving that. So Matrine's hope kind of lie in getting some bigger successes in the north so that they then can strike south from a couple more angles, but that is going to be hard here against a division like 79th that can go deep in its pool.
Yeah, the fourth moto pick on Vertigo is kind of suspect for me, because even though fourth moto has a strong infantry opener and it has stronger combined arms than a lot of good infantry opener divisions, but I still don't really see it. This is just a map that really favors mobile and tank favored long range divisions. The fourth moto driving in and immediately getting recon rushed by the Rasvedka BMP-2s just meant that at no point has Matrin had the chance to actually try to do those close range attacks. Like the way to attack Boris the Bravo in south, for instance, would be to try to get into that forest, try to fight in that forest with infantry, try to force the enemy to buy a bunch of infantry, and then after you secure the forest, you can have wider sight lines and you can try to take side shots and spot all the enemy vehicles. But there's never been any time to actually manifest anything like this, because Nocturne realized that when you're ahead, you just go further ahead. Just do another attack. Why not? Better than just sit by.
Yeah, the T-55 AMC are struggling with a T-80B. Not able to kill that off. in the north, and we have a +3 now coming along here for Nocturna, and Matrine has to disengage, has to get some repairs up again to be able to achieve anything again. TADBV coming around as well will push the center zone soon, most likely, where the T-55s are currently placed, and we have only slow play here right now.
Yeah, the T-55 AM2B in a pretty alright position to lob missiles at the T-80s. It is in cover, and the T-80s are not. Also, artillery getting bought out by Matrine in pretty large quantities, hoping to be able to win these close-range fights with the artillery support. There's not much heavy equipment that actually could be brought out. The T-80s are not the fastest tanks, but with 60 kph, they are more than fast enough to avoid these and well armored enough to avoid these artillery strikes. And on the long term, Nocturna being on +3 right now, this is Matrine is going to have to exploit some overextensions in a massive way, and I don't really see those overextensions happening.
RPG gets the CV in the north as well, will increase the situation to a +4 here, reducing the time that Matrine has to stop this and turn it around even smaller. And as for Motschützen, the question is, where do you turn this around and how? And I don't really see a way out here right now. It's really a division that is defining itself a lot about its early game with those Fallschirmjägers, with special forces and so on. And if you already lose that, it gets a lot harder, especially on a map like this where mechanized and armored forces are in such a good spot, and yeah, the BMP ones are only so-so, and the T-55 modernized variants can be nice against IFVs, but against TADBs they will struggle to put any dent into them.
Yeah, it's now that the critical mass of T-80s and also Rasverkas, a bunch of recon around, which we always love to see. Of course, we all know that the recon is the most important component of an armored attack, because that actually allows the tanks to stay back safely and not to run into enemy ATGM lines. The East German forces are now concentrating in a very thin sliver where they can be probably kind of engaged by these tanks, one more tank reinforcing here, and all the points that got spent by Matarin into air attacks were just wasted, I think. But as fourth motto, you are so used to immediately after the opener transitioning into the MiG-21s, because the MiG-21s become useless as soon as the enemy's AA net is actually up. But even then, I really am. I don't know which player picked and which one counterpicked, but I would hesitate playing fourth motto either as a pick or as a counter pick on this map. The Conqueror's missiles are good enough to contest a lot of the heavy tanks in this game, but there must have been another choice than fourth motto.
Yeah, T-55M2 here getting pushed out, and the TADB wave is getting bigger and bigger. BMP2s coming along as well, and they reload time between shots of the ATGMs. That's good for like a decent nerf for long drawn out fights, but if the first salvo already gets every kill, then it's not really a problem at all. And the TADBVs here now pushing forward. Fallschirmjäger Einsatztruppe only having laws, won't achieve much, and likely just getting shredded as a special forces unit here. That's another 60 points down the drain. T-55 AM2s trying to disengage, and this is a really, really big issue here now. The push keeps on coming. T-55s have to roll backwards. CV might even... Oh no, it gets the leader. This is...
Now Matrine is looking into an infantry attack down south, buying some forces, kind of not figuring, not probably having any other things to do, buying zero with Sikarungs even, probably having run out of some of the better infantry in these former fights, and manages to Dunkirk away most of his mech force away from the northern part. But there is really, they are completely out of position. They cannot push. They can only try to punish some of the T-80BVs, which are already completely, absolutely superior, even when they are overextending. And so Matri needs to move all of their mech, attack down south, and then also do a successful infantry attack through the forest, which is technically possible, but there are like flame tanks and Saperi RPOs out there. We're actually seeing one of the MiG-23s, the very cheap 155-point variant with 35-point accuracy for the missiles. And this is the roulette wheel. It is not the weapon you need here. And there's a reason why it's only been brought so late.
Yeah, it's
Shut up,
nice
William.
when you have a defensive setup and you can just pick apart enemy tanks pushing into you. But when you have to attack and reliably kill off units, the MiG-23 MFAT is not the unit of choice. And the traits here, they do get some damage in onto the enemy, but the T-80s just do a lot more. And you just don't quite have the power to kill any units off, and that means there will just be more and more of those heavy tanks coming around if you never kill any. And it will get harder and harder because they can one-shot kill your units and you can't do the same to them. And this is going to be a massive, massive problem, which will snowball as every engagement just gonna pick apart some of Madrid's units. Maybe there's a way with a weird air spam through the south or so, but we haven't seen anything yet. I don't believe there's a way of winning the north at this point anymore, but the southern zone will be tough to crack as well.
Yeah, there are some pretty nice missile hits coming in with the Fagots and the Conquerors and the Bastion attacking, but the Nocturna's defenses are just moving to the second line. There is no reason for them to defend in long ranges here. They have numerical superiority. They can have call reinforcements from the north if anything goes badly. Now, Matrin's infantry are going to move into the west side of this tree line. They're going to be spotted by the Motorosvedka. And yeah, as you can see, the Tunguska immediately opening fire. And BMP-2s, it's just another firing line here.
Yeah, artillery tries to come on top of this, but still has to aim. T-55 AM leader goes down in the open field before it could get any kills, and now it's red side's time again to be hit and be pushed back. MiG-23 MF and MiG-23 BN rocket coming in here. Might be able to deal with the Tunguskas here. No kill there at first. MiG-29 and MiG-24 go down for Matrin as well, so the traits aren't getting better. Rocket plane coming along, gets a run in, doesn't really get a kill, and likely is going to get pushed out here in a second as well. R-29 on the other side is out. MiG-29 with the R-27Ts. And the push over the open field for the Sejungs is just getting into a complete disaster. Tunguskas can deal with the Mi-24s, as no unit was brought around to deal with them. And this whole situation is basically over at this stage.
Yeah, it's as I said, like fourth moto is just completely not fitting into that. Like, cannot do these kinds of comebacks without locking the enemy down into like a uh, close range point where they can force the enemy to get into the knife fighting range where their resolute traits and their extra machine guns and their good AT weapons can actually start trading up. Like, how many special forces units did you see get just completely execution squad destroyed by a bunch of autocannons? Like, that is that is what should be in your mind when you're thinking about playing fourth moto on Vertigo.
Yeah, really well done job here by Nocturna. And playing 79th the way it is supposed to be played. It got nerfed with the OSAS, and I was surprised that Madrin didn't do a helicopter opener. Like, I feel like that was the way to deal with this, as the OSAS got removed from 79th, so their BMP-2Ds are a bit more vulnerable in the first couple of seconds and minutes when the Tunguska, which is slower, has to roll up from the rear. But no Mi-24Ds coming around, and yeah, with that, Nocturna got into the positions they wanted to be in from the get-go, and Matrin was never really able to get any advantages on the battlefield. And the 79th with the better late game just kept on rolling from there, getting through, and I hope we see a better start from Matrin next game. Short break, guys, and then we're gonna be back with game number 2 here. So here we go. Game number 2, everybody. Matrine versus Nocturna on Black Forest. And on the right side, we have Matrine bringing around second Panzer Grenadier that got nerfed slightly. Martyrs lost some range, and it lost the
Jaguar 2s.
Jaguar 2s, exactly. What's on the other side? We got 5th Blinde that got nerfed a good bit as well. Its Brennus went up by 20 points, and its slots got a good bit more expensive as well, so it can't just free wet everything anymore. So it's gonna be interesting to see how 5th Blinde performs now with those deficits. But yeah, interesting match here. Leo 1A5's coming around. Those got a bit cheaper. Leo 1A1's got up in price a bit, so that kind of evens out. But Leo 1A5's here. Gonna be interesting to see now that they are a bit cheaper if they can be the cost-efficient tool against the AMX30B2s, having one less pen and one less armor for 20 points less. It's gonna be interesting to see if they can hold the line there. Whilst we have a good amount of martyrs coming around. Vulture Makers in the front here. Those got cheaper a bit as well, so yeah, second Panzer got a couple of side grades, I guess, even more so than just nerfs, but yeah, we'll see how this goes around here for Matrine in the opener, if they can keep it up this time around. And on the other side, MX-10 RCs coming in as well. Which division do you prefer for this map, if you would have to pick one yourself?
I would personally pick second Panzer Grenadier because I like pushing into alpha with infantry to force the enemy into investing into infantry fights. That's personally a tactic I do here. I often do it with heli drops, and then with the Leopard 2s in the late game, you could have more than enough of them to fight off even the best French tanks. Of course, you can't really do mass tank attacks in the way that you would do in an armored division, but if you have both a strong front line with infantry and ATGMs, the Leopard 2s are just enough modern tankage to kill like key units like Mephistos reliably with the first shot, and allowing the rest of the Leopards to kind of do the rest of the damage, so to speak, because sending the Leopard 1s against AMX-30s is a fair fight, and Leopard 2s against them is not. And we're seeing both players go, as is pretty standard, to go mostly around the middle. The Dragon Paras will be there with 100 kph because the VLRA is that, and as well as the Jaeger Aufklärers. But both of them are going to drive past each other, so we'll see if they actually, if probably the 50 cal of the VLRA could maybe do something. Though, of course, the Fallschirmjäger Aufklärer does have a Panzerfaust 3, which is a very powerful AT weapon. And the follow-up with the Leopard 2 and the 3 Milans and the support Leopard 1 and the Gepard, that's like peak performance, perfect platonic ideal of a second Panzer Grenadier attack. I like Matrine using it like that, but the units are going to be spread on a wider front, with an AMX-10 hot actually going into providing the Foxtrot flank towards the from the blue side. The AMX-10 RCs will be there first, and they will be able to take out the Luxes if the Luxes reveal themselves. And if the AMX-10s are out there providing spotting and firing, and the AMX-10 right behind it, that's going to be something that like a couple of tanks just can't deal with. They need to have some level of support there. Lux is
Fallschirmjäger Aufklärer not unloading, getting shut down by the MX-10 RC even. Matrine unloading the second Fallschirmjäger, the full normal one in time, but the Dragon Paras get into the down. VLRA can pick away. Oh no, Fallschirmjägers don't switch. They switch side, and now they are still out in the open. Dragon Paras could just run them over. VLRA pushing into them as well. MX-10 RC moving around here as well. Unimog being hunted. Fallschirmjäger Aufklärer in the north being shot as well. Lux at least didn't get spotted right away in the south. Is running even deeper here. Trying to get into some real line action, it seems like. The northern town area is...
Oh no, side shot by the MX-10 RC! Command tank getting side shot immediately. Worst case scenario here.
Oh, it turns around. Can't smoke off. Has to disengage. Fallschirmjäger is in the center. Get a VAB and a VLRA, but will die right afterwards. Leo 1A5 gets hit as well. Martyr comes around now. The MX-10 RC can smoke off in time though. Panzer Grenadiers might be able to get around close enough here as the MX-10 RC is pushing forward. The Panzer Grenadiers should unload. Okay, the Martyr actually does it with the autocannon. So MX-10 RC is dealt with. MX-10 hot and another MX-10 RC behind this. So, but Leo 1A5 and Leo 2A3 out of it for a good while. No supply on the battlefield yet already. And the Panzer Grenadiers in the south will likely be stopped as well. This is Bravo gone. So Matrine will have to play from a really defensive spot now. The Fallschirmjäger opener didn't work out at all. The French opener did its job. Martyr got overwhelmed, and now Matrine just likely has to fall back and give up Bravo for now, and this is really, really painful.
Yeah, Matrine's looks went right past the AMX-10RC, did not stay there to spot it, allowing it to actually get the side shot in. But now the Lux is being very daring and pushing right on the other side of the zone even. And if there were infantry reinforcements here for Matrine, that would be great info, but nothing is taking those positions south of Foxtrot. Now, here comes the HE2. This is the cheapo Strike Eagle, the older generation Strike Eagle. And getting just close enough for the Roland 3 to get a shot off, does not get hit by it, fortunately, with a very heavy bomb load, also not getting any value out of it. This is a 275-point plane.
MX-30's pushing into the Martyr 1s here. 1A3 is under fire. The Milans do decent damage, but they don't one-shot the MX-30s here. F4F coming in. A lot of missiles coming out against it. It gets its bombs off though, gets a hit against all, killing off one AMX-30 outright. One of the Martyrs went down. The smokes here still keep popping as Nocturna popped them one by one, and the MX-30s do survive for now. Leo 1A5 now tries to get involved into the fight again. Martyr is around, but gets shot by the MX-10 RC from the south. We'll have to smoke off and disengage there. Leo 1A5 is recklessly getting killed off there as well. Yeah, that should have just repaired. I'm not sure why he pushed that up. Martyr not microed either. The last Martyr out of ammo by now. Panzer Grenadiers out in the open. This is a terrible start for Matrine. Those fights not going the way at all. You want to have them go as second Panzer Grenadier here. The French being able to leverage their speed of the armored units they have and just getting the angles here. Well, it's Matrine's forces being caught out time and again with side shots, with the Martyrs getting into the gun range of the MXs, and Lux goes down there as well. This is not the start Matrine wants at all.
Yeah, like the BL-105 recon helicopter is out there right now, but if that helicopter had just pushed a little bit, like was in the opener and pushing down south, it could have spotted the quite defenseless AMX-10 for the better guns of the Leopard 2, and just not having that recon there, having the Lux just move past it, was even now the Lux has been taken out, even though it probably got a little bit of backline information. Now, right now, Matrine is just like can barely defend anything. Matrine's just desperately trying to take space, trying to force the enemy.
Yeah, but he also didn't give his opponent the space they needed to give away. Like, after taking those side shots, he needed to disengage to Delta. He tried to stay up in open space, and open space in WARNO is always a death sentence. If your enemy has all the cover and you sit out in the open space, you will just get picked apart, especially by mobile forces like the MXs. And now he has no Martyrs. Now he has nothing in Delta. If he would have fallen back with his Martyrs, sure, losing Bravo sucks, but he would at least have now Martyrs together with his Leo 2s that now can't take these direct engagements. He could have some ATGMs in the church tower and all. Now he doesn't have any defenses for Delta, and his opponent still has this massive armored push coming his way. Like, really taking not taking the loss and cutting the losses and moving back, and instead staying in the open ground here, the biggest mistake for sure. And now the MX-30 wave is pushing into him. The only hope for Matrine right now in my eyes is that Nocturna overextends for Bravo, for Delta. If his opponent overextends, this could still go really wrong against Leo 2s and Leo 1A1s coming in. But the MX-30s, otherwise, if they can play it defensively here, with a +3 like this, it's gonna be really tough for Matrine. Jaguar AT, Ihawk is aiming at it, trying to get the shot out. Leo goes down. Oh no.
Oh no.
iHawk gets another shot, at least getting the kill there. Yes, it does. At least it gets a trade. BO105 spots the MX-10RC as well. F-16AA comes around, gets pushed back. The Leo 1A1s here can take out an AMX-30, as those were at least damaged. BO105 dealing with the MX-10RC supplined, so at least a couple of good kills here now for Matrin, but he will need a good bit more.
Yeah, as you were saying, like when something so decisive as an opener sideline hit against your command tank and your only main battle tank happens, you need to do something decisive. Just like F move everything back, just run, just do something. Don't stay in that position on the open ground more when your enemy has like a complete recon and stealth advantage out of you. And like before that Leopard 2 was just taken out by the Jaguar, I was going to say that if this attack keeps going on, like 2 minutes of Leopards being able to do free damage, maybe something is happening. I think the free damage was enough to scare Nocturna into staying behind this only a +2 leadership currently. But what's this? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 AMX P2s. Some of them are wounded, yes. There are also sidelines of recon and very good ATGMs. There's also infantry with great AT weapons blocking enemy transports from getting close. Like there needs to be multiple different fights that all go in favor of Matrin to even start getting into the zone here. And after the latest attack there, it seems like Nocturna is a little bit more careful about overextending right now.
Ooh, MX-30B2 gets hit pretty hard, but not quite outright killed there by the Leo 2A3. And BO105s here flying around, but we have Mistrals, we have Roland 3s, so chances of them dealing fatal damage is pretty low as well. BO105 maybe can pick off a unit or two. MX-30 went down in the north. Those are decent kills here, keeping the snowball from completely getting out of hand. It's still 5 AMX-30B2s already here, but we by now also get a decent amount of Leos here for Matrin onto the battlefield. Could use a couple more repairs here. Milan 1s coming in for the church tower area. That can be really helpful in the upcoming engagements. And Nocturna might have to fall a bit further back than they are right now. As next AMX-30 likely gonna die there. Yes, BO105 there coming in with the pickup. And the MX-10RC on the front line surely gonna get spotted soon as well. And that is an easy pickup as well. The flank with the Milan 2 and the Hot, that is scary. AMX-30B2 can find a martyr here. But currently the trade's at least starting to go a bit into Matrin's way. And those he has to leverage and keep on snowballing. Gets another MX-30 there most likely. Oh, it's getting really low. Gets the MX-10 as well. Okay, Matrin is starting to get back into this game.
Yeah, so Matrin is doing everything as correctly here. Getting those northern buildings allows you to get into a sieging position against the zone. As we can see now, the Leopards and the Martyrs suddenly start applying fire control around the supply trucks, having to move around, and units have to reposition. Now, Matrin can push a little bit further to the west and get even more spotting positions. The best place for Matrin to control is the buildings right, left to the Aufklärers currently, because those buildings can target the reinforcement road, the entry site to the Bravo zone. If you control that, if you have a tank threatening it, you're like kind of pushing the enemy out of the zone by definition, and forcing the enemy to move into less defensible locations potentially, and also making it easier for your infantry to get in there. And investing heavily into tanks here with Leopard 1A1s and Leopard 2s is the correct choice, I think. Right now, Nocturna seems to be getting into some kind of a infantry rush, driving the Grenadier Voltigeurs Apilas right through the smoke, but the smoke does not extend far enough. I don't think there's a Panzerfaust and Fallschirmjägers.
Yeah, they're waiting for the next wave to come around. They play it patiently here for next salvo of smoke coming up. But if they unload a bit too close there, the Fallschirmjägers are going to get them. Leo 1A1 gets hit by the AMX-30s, but retaliation of the Leo 2 gets a kill on an AMX-30B2. That's a great trade for Matrine. AMX-30 way more worth it than the Leo 1A1. And another hit even crippling another AMX-30B2 here. That would be a good target for the AMX-1. Yeah, immediately goes for the Leo 2A3 here. And the VABs will unload. One of them goes down right after to the Fallschirmjäger. Next one goes down. Fallschirmjäger doing a good job.
Low cohesion. The Panzerfaust put them on low cohesion. Now they're going to lose these fights, even if they have numbers against the enemy. Oh no, this is such a bad little detail here.
They don't have sniper rifles or anything. Those are just the classic Grenadier Voltigeurs here with Apillas. The Fallschirmjägers with the shock trade and so on can duel decently. The VAB helps out from the rear at least. So with numbers, they still do an okay job here. But at the same time, artillery coming in against Nocturna's units here as well. Leos engaging against the AMX-30s on long range. Leo 2s, that is. And Leo 2s do a good job there. Bomb killing off all the Grenadier Voltigeurs. So that is over. And Nocturna has to be careful. Not overextending here and maybe losing everything. Jaguar HE is out for some Leo 2 blood. But this was a bad engagement. Grenadier Voltigeurs all down. AMX-30B2s went down again. The Alf 1 did a bit of damage, but it didn't finish off the job. We have Apprentice on the battlefield, now 165 points. That's why we didn't see them earlier, because they aren't quite as stackable as the AMX-30B2s, but they are necessary to deal with Leo 2s.
Yeah, very crucially, currently Matrine has intel. Matrine can spot a bunch of these tanks that Nocturna has here, and Nocturna can spot nothing. Nocturna has no vision outside of units in the town on the right. So the artillery here is targeting these AMX B2s, and no, taking out the Puma Kangaroo actually, the Feldhaubitze battery reloading quickly and having just way more targets to choose from. With a little bit more infantry reinforcements, even more Marders coming in, more Panzer Grenadiers. It's not going to take too long for the siege to actually get into Bravo, but at that point the concern is controlling this zone for 20 minutes enough for the late game. I believe there should probably be some kind of attempt or a breakthrough into the town on Alpha, not just because as the Godcaster I can see that there is nothing defending it, but also because having the extra reinforcement route from north allows you to attack two parts of the Alpha zone at the same time. Controlling two reinforcement roads immediately puts you into a pretty good position into getting into the town, and the AMX-30s are not going to be able to get in there. So this means that the mech budget needs to be, the French mech budget needs to be switched into infantry fighting, which in turn is not going to beat the actual core of Matrine, which is the tanks.
Yeah, Panzer Grenadiers and Leo 1A1s moving towards the left side there. Eclairs can get a shot off there. It would have been a side shot, but they do miss. So the Leo 1A1 can keep on moving. We have another Leo 2 coming up. We have the 105mm howitzers aiming towards the Brennesses that are pretty stacked up. If the Leos could pounce on that afterwards, that would be big. We will see if that's possible. It's 4 Brennesses and a normal AMX-30 with a hot versus currently 2 Leo 1A1s and 2 Leo 2A3s, a couple of Martyrs, and the next Leo 2 coming up, but won't be able to get into this fight just yet. Though with the artillery softening all of this up, there might be a bit of a move. No, it's not enough damage there, I believe, to really allow the Leo 2s to get big hits. Hot might be picked off here by the Leo 2A3. No, it doesn't quite get the kill there. With 3 frontal armors, barely able to survive that shot. Tries to disengage now, not smoking off. Only smoking off after the Leo 2A3 gets another shot off, but it missed, and that's a problem for the Leo 2A3. Needs to smoke off immediately, does so. As the Gepard, the Brennesses now move forward. Leo 2A3 leader needs to get involved into this fight. Leo 1A1s and Brennesses getting involved. The Brennesses on low cohesion here, partially. They are not as effective as you usually would see them, and they miss a good amount of shots. Leo 2A3s hitting the MX-30B2 in the south, and that one should go down. One Marder goes down, AMX-10 Hot goes down, 2 AMX-30s go down, one of them being a Brennus. So far, good trades for Matrine. Gets the Dragon Power out as well. Should be able to push through, but new AMX-30 B2s coming in. But at least a foothold into Bravo should be enabled here with this. As the Leo 1A1s keep on pushing forward. Leo 2A3s getting repaired. Need to get back into the action here to help out their smaller brethren, as they are the ones that make the difference here. Fuchs Milan might find the AMX-10 Hot. No, does miss, but at least gets it stunned. Whilst it is reloading for the next run. Artillery fire isn't on a good spot. Brennus is kept out of the zone. Would be stressed out otherwise. But PLRA Milan gets down to the AMX-1 fire as well. So both sides using the artillery wisely. And there are starting to be a couple of nice pickoffs for Nocturna. No big kills, but good enough kills.
Yeah, Nocturna very smartly retreating away from the zone, not taking the fight against the way better positions of Matrine. Matrine now achieved the full-on siege stance and was able to kind of aggro the Brennuses into a long-range tank fight. And immediately as that happened, the infantry that was already positioned close by just started moving in. And as the Brennuses were forced to engage the tanks, the Marders were more than enough to actually push the French infantry out of the zone, and thus the French infantry and the French tanks did the best they could in just not taking those fights. Excellent, like Matrine, peak perfection doctrinal movements here, knowing the map, obviously, not attacking the strongest position. It does help maybe a little bit that 3 very important infantry squads were sacrificed in a kind of a stress attack, really. Oh, and artillery taking out the P4, the Peugeot car command vehicle here, now with the French concentrated in such a small area, and a bunch of their supply getting taken out on purpose due to Matrine having these great recon spotting positions. The tanks, there are no leaders to help with the cohesion problem, there's no supply to repair these tanks, and really at this point, this is now Nocturna has to somehow spread out here and try to gain positions that don't just put them into this very small, tight corner that enemy superior tanks and multiple artillery pieces can just hammer you on. There's even a bunch of Tampella mortars here that haven't been used, probably supposed to be used for smokes, but that wasn't even necessary.
Yeah, we see now a push towards the south, towards Foxtrot a bit, but a Milan 1's there getting involved. There is a Milan 2 there that is pretty annoying. Artillery should come down on top of that. It goes for the Roland right now, as the Milan 2 is picking apart a bit. The Roland 3 gets hit. Not sure if it's gonna be killed there, as the artillery is pretty spread out on the long distance, but gets decent salvo in there and might get the pick off, as Leo 1A1's here fighting in the middle. There were a good couple of deaths for Matrine in the north as well. A couple of Gepards, Martyrs, and Leo 1A1s, but he for sure got the better out of the fight there. He now only has to finish the job. If he can kill off the remaining damaged AMX-30s there, hunting them down with the Leo 2s, then he is in a fantastic spot. And then can push on further to Foxtrot, maybe even to Echo. But he first has to finish off the job before all of these guys can be repaired. And he's currently not doing that. His Leo 2s are a bit idle, and that is a mistake in my eyes. Yes, they might not be full hit points, but they are much higher on hit points than the enemy. And standing still actually makes them target for the AMX-1 instead of hunting down the AMX-30s right now. So big mistake there in my eyes by Matrine right now to have the Leo 2A3s not actively hunting the enemy.
Yeah, another 3 AMX-30s are getting brought in here for Nocturna. Nocturna is choosing to actually fight this fight from this suboptimal position and getting a bunch of salvos against the Panzer Grenadiers while they're moving out there. French infantry, both in size and weaponry, is superior to the West Germans. Better guns, better AT guns, more sniper rifles. Actually, not more sniper rifles, because the Panzer Grenadiers have them. But it is the Marder Milan here that needs to win the infantry fights. Though with Leopard 2 engaging here, positioning itself right in a perfect corner that it cannot be hit by the French support weapons, but that it can actually participate in this fight. Also, the southern front here, the AMX-10 HOTS and Milan 2 have actually fired a lot of shots and done a lot of damage, but there are no reinforcements coming for those units. If a little bit of pressure gets applied down south, could be that Matrin could maybe just get into Foxtrot.
Yeah, get into Foxtrot, get potentially even to Echo. There's really nothing down there at all. Out behind those two ATGM units, which one of them being out of ammo, the other one being down to 1 hit point. But for now, this hasn't happened. Prentice pushed forward. CV is in their zone now for Nocturna once more, getting a +1, and it's only 17 minutes now on a map that ticks slowly. So Matrin will need a deep push. Gets the Jaguar HE before it can get any top. Another big victory there. After this terrible early game, the situation here for Matrin has stabilized a lot. And Leo 283s here coming around, getting up to the front line. The 1 vet instead of base 2 vet on everything, as you would have seen before on the previous patch here, I believe made a decent amount of difference as well in these tank fights, as the MX-30B2s don't all come with the max vet setup that you often saw before, only coming at the 1 vet, whilst on the other side tanks come on 1 vet as well, so no advantage there. The Leo 283s are the superior tank here for sure. They just have to be used like that right now, and currently they are a bit too inactive. With the time ticking down, Matrin has to get the Leo 2s shooting again.
Yeah, there are so many units here and the game is at a position where there is no time to wait anymore. Just take like 3 units and do a Hail Mary attack on the other part of the map. Send in infantry to push through forests. Maybe you can find out that it's just free. You can reach positions, clear out an enemy recon squad or something. Just do stuff. At this point, sitting behind this without ticking up is just a crime. Not all of them, but most of the AMX-30s seem to have been repaired at this point. There's been too much reliance for Matrin on artillery. The artillery is constantly firing. The artillery is working well. It's getting the stuff done, but it's just I'm afraid that the artillery might be engendering passivity here, with most of the microing should be going into getting these mech units into the attack. Just you're giving your enemy time here.
Yeah, and points right now as well, which you really can't afford them to have. Leo 1A1 pushing a bit forward, Martyrs coming in, but the Leo 2A3s are the ones that are supposed to deal the damage. And now there's a good amount of Milan 2s around. Leo 2s moving around through the north, trying to get into an angle where they can shoot. Another MX-30B2 goes down. Another one gets side-shotted from a Leo 2A3 in the north, so they finally do the damage here. They can just keep on pushing. The reinforcements here of Nocturna not looking all that hot right now. There is not that much here. If the Leo 2s can finish the job here that they started. Pioneer Carl Gustav getting the kill against another one. Oh, Leo 2A3 in the open field. Might get side-shotted. Gets taken out by an AMX-10 hot. That was a bit of a weird angle to try to come in from. But there are still 3 more Leo 2A3s, including the leaders. It's even 4. As one of them is a bit damaged, but yeah, 3 full hit point Leo 2A3s, one of them being a leader. That should be enough to get some damage. Kills off another MX-30B2 there, 1 shot. And there are only 4 MX-30s right now left. The Bomber does a good job once more. 3 of them, all 4 of them damaged, 3 of them heavily damaged. So with the superior numbers of Leo 1A5s and Leo 2s, you should just be able to A-click this at this point. Keep your recon moving in front and just A-click over the map. Keep them pushing down whilst the artillery pins down everything else. But this is not what's happening right now, and it's only 13 minutes and 12 seconds now.
Yeah, it's such a shame that the Tampella mortars have been forgotten in the backline here, because just like a smoke barrage here to cover the flank, cover the wide vertical flank, and then just like attack the cornerstone, prevent the AMX-10 HOTS and the flank units and the HOT 2 Gazelle from actually doing anything, and then just get those positions, force the enemy to back out from this crossroad like you did early on. Early on, just good positions, managed to drive the enemy off just by like their own nature, those firing positions. And right now, nothing has been done to achieve that again. And this Nocturna has been able to just keep buying reinforcements and keep getting pretty mediocre trades while 1,700 points in the lead. And nothing's happening on Foxtrot, nothing's happening on Alpha either. Oh no.
Yeah, I don't know why people still don't know how Black Forest works. Like, this map has been in now in the map pool for 3 years. And in this configuration for 2 years. So you should know by now that you need to take up against somebody who has a lead against you at the 15-minute mark before the game ends. If you're not there, you just have to panic, A-click over the map, and try to win this way. If you don't do that, you're gonna lose. So just A-click over the map. It might work. It might not work because MX-30s are still pretty decent. But what Madrid is doing right now for sure won't work. Because there is no magical way of getting 1,000 points in the last 2 minutes on this map. There is no magic plus 20 tick here that will save you. And you need to fight for this. You need to grind away the enemy and just smack them up here now. And there is no movement. There is just no
bombers
movement.
coming in repeatedly, just bombers and bombers. No, this is not you. You should buy bombers when you're on the defense. You should buy bombers and sacrifice them to kill enemy leaders when you have the lead with points. No, your vehicle should be moving.
Everything should just A-click. Another tornado coming in. It seems like Matrine has no clue how much they have attritioned the enemy away already. Like, it feels like they think the enemy has a massive wall of stuff, but actually it's a pretty thin layer there that is left. They have gotten so many good trades, but they might not have realized it, and being too scared of the enemy. But being scared of the enemy at this point, even if there would be more, you would have to suicide A-click into it. But there isn't. It would actually be absolutely viable. And obviously, as I said, it is because we know how little there is that it is extra frustrating. But even if it wouldn't be, you should do it. If you are on Black Forest and you're behind in points at the 15-minute mark, as much as Matrinas, just go for an all Hail Mary, because there is no other way you win the game. Slow drawn-out fight won't get you anywhere.
Yeah, at the point when like all of the AMX-30s were wounded, all of them could have been taken out by the Leopard 1s. Like, that was the time to actually risk the attack. That was when the enemy was at their weakest, and it was so nice watching Matrine's perspective and seeing all the info that he had and all the constant microing of the artillery. At this point, one of the artillery pieces actually has run out of ammunition already, and like purposefully taking out and hunting all that supply, and then just not using that advantage that was created to them. And now finally the infantry is moving into the completely undefended front door of Alpha, just way too late. Like, if the infantry would have attacked at the same time, or infantry would have moved into Alpha at the same time that the enemy had been pushed away and pushed to retreat, that could have been a completely discombobulating shock to Nocturna's system, because Nocturna would have had to buy both the supply for the tanks, both the reinforcements to the front line, and also fill that town with infantry. Now maybe Nocturna risks it all and starts moving their AMX-30s to support the infantry fight, once again moving away from this safe corner that they are stepped in. But instead, looking at Matrine's perspective, it seemed like Matrine was just content in bombarding with two 155 howitzers, bombarding the area of the entrance instead of ever moving in there. And that is the strategy that you do when you are leading on points.
Yeah, Matrine plays like they are in the lead, but they are absolutely not. I have no idea why the Leo 2A3s are so passive. Like, they haven't been moved into any threatening position for the last 7 minutes or so. It's insane. Like, how much they didn't use their advantage. Like, they lost the early game, but second Panzer Grenadier power brought them back, and it really shows in my eyes the power dynamic shift between these two divisions, how this game turned out, because it's not just AMX apprentices just murdering you with insane cost efficiency from the get-go, because they are now still decent, but not as stupidly cost efficient, and second Panzer Grenadier can take the armored fights there now, And they took them and won them, even after a terrible opener, but then they just decided to not do anything with that win. And the opener was played out well by Nocturna. They got the 1,700 points they deserved out of this great opener. And Matrin didn't take the ones they deserved out of their strong counterplay. And that is seemingly how this game will gonna end, with Matrin ahead in KD by a good margin, but just 0 points on the scoreboard, it seems like.
Yeah, I often think that I am a too aggressive of a player, that I send my units into needlessly risky attacks, and I this is something I kind of beat myself over. Uh, but I think it comes from rather losing with no units on board than losing with a bunch of units on board. That you there's all like so much of this game. I referenced Eugen's old game Ruse, but so much of this game really, especially on these competitive levels, is about recognizing, seeing into the darkness, so to speak. Just recognizing with your knowledge of the enemy divisions, the enemy movement times, the costs of the enemy units, the amount of kills that you have, building up in your mind this understanding of what's going on. And if you are playing ranked as somebody with a little bit of experience and you're playing against people with none of this experience, it can seem like you're map hacking, because immediately after you get a few key kills and shoot down an enemy fighter, suddenly you know to push every other flank, and they're thinking, well, how can they know that all of my flanks were undefended? It was because you bought like expensive bombers. You opened with something expensive, and you did not get that done. That is something that really can't be taught to people. You can only learn it slowly, and especially as we go to the higher ranks. In Division 1, seeing people miss their chances like this is extremely rare, but which is why I want to bring attention to it.
Yeah, Division 2 action here, showing why Matrin isn't quite up there in Division 1 right now. Like, though we have similar situations in Division 1 as of late as well, which is always a bit confusing to me. Like, obviously we all do mistakes, but Black Forest is not this map has been out there for so long now. People should for sure know better on this map in specific. Like, on a newer map, that can happen. Like, if you don't quite know how the take works in the late game on Kryder, sure, that can happen. You can be caught off guard there a bit. But on Black Forest, it really shouldn't. Everybody has played a good dozen game, has seen a good dozen games, a couple dozen games on this map. And yeah, we see finally maybe the scoreboard getting a small take here for Madrid, but it's only 4 minutes here left, and Nocturna even was allowed to get a new CV in here, as both sides trade units here again. Milan 2s and Hot 2s still around, as the AA planes didn't come around to finish off the helicopter. Bombers now coming in again, but there's not even with a +8 right now you would get enough points, so there is no big impact here on these plays anymore. Milans get down. Leo 2A3 actually got killed off there, so the KD in the end might actually be is somewhat equal, though both sides here taking good amount of losses again. And blue side, this does take a good amount of them again. Mistral here getting overrun, Gazelle's getting overrun, Tornado comes around. Like, yeah, a lot of kills here, but no points. 0 points still on the scoreboard. We will see a couple of ticks here now coming in the last couple of seconds, as we have a +1 now for Matrin, but they won't have any influence on the outcome of this game.
Yeah, with finally Matrin moving into the town that they should have moved in such a long time ago, I really do think the F4F HE2, it is an overtly expensive plane. It does have 4 good heat seekers and a really heavy bomb load, especially in the early game when that thing was flying against kind of a limited mechanized force. I think it was a bad buy at that point. It spent so much of its time getting repaired because the Roland 3s are just reliably good and fire fast. The Tampella mortars still in the back line, never getting those smokes out there, and you can see the cracks in both of these players play. But of course, historically, we have seen, as we saw in the last season, the quality of play does get up on, in my opinion, on every division.
Yeah.
And these are simply the first games that we're having in here. I am probably going to guess that by the time we get into like your quarterfinals or whatever we have in this system of ours, the Division 2 games are probably going to start resembling some of the Division 1 games we've seen already.
Yeah, and really, at the end here, still great micro from Madrid. Like the comeback after the heavy losses in the early stages, they did play second Grenadier really well, and they come around with a 1,000 point lead in the end here, even though they took such heavy losses early on. So that's already impressive enough. They just didn't operate on top of this. Like, this shows that Madrid knows the basics and is a good player, just not quite having the killer instinct, it seems like, which, yeah, is a bit unfortunate for them. But Nocturna getting rewarded for a great opener, for being courageous there, keeping on fighting, even though it took them a lot of kills, never quite losing their complete cohesion, which Madrid then might have seen and just pushed on, always having the resemblance of a cohesion, and with that, getting the 2 victory here after a strong and fast game number 1 in this long drawn out fight. And yeah,
when you're ahead, get further ahead. Just don't stop and think about building up the next attack. You get some kills, try to get some more. Probably gonna get them.
Yeah, and with that, I would end it here for today. As my voice is a bit cracking, I need a rest, and I also have Warhammer 30k tournament games coming up later tonight, so I'm gonna stream those after a short break with some dinner, and we gonna see each other tomorrow, guys, with more casts there, including some Division 1 casts again. So see you all around for that. And if you have any final words.
I think if the New York mayor, Zoran Mamdani, if he wins, which will happen today or not, he might be a generational political talent. So look out for that. Very exciting elections happening. Outside, I hope everybody is having a summer that they can have positive memories about.
So yeah, see you all tomorrow, guys, and thanks for watching.